sorry about that, guys. Something just came up, and I got stuck for a little bit. Yeah, I wasn't planning on. I completely forgot about this, and I got reminded. And fortunately, my sleep schedule is pretty early now, so I'm able to do it. Just. Some music playing. No, I do not want to listen to that song. Nope. Oh, this is good. Okay. I would believe you. Hello.
Oh, hey.
Dude, I'm so sorry about that, man.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, I got completely, like, I don't know what the word is, but I got, like, stuck. It's all good. It's all good. But, yeah, no, I think tier list all good to go.
Oh, I'm ready.
You just turn music down a little bit. The thing. Good to go. Okay. Okay, so first of all, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good.
Nice. That's good to hear, man. Have a good
Oh,
day.
yeah. Yeah, I got the, I did 0 Hour.
Nice.
The one that just came out. I, got dinner. It's at one point.
I hear 0 hours, like, busted with the difficulty.
Oh, it is way harder than the reissued Whisper. I don't know if you played it yet, but they've, like, added, like, a couple new things.
I heard it's
The,
bugged, though.
like, bugged.
Yeah,
I don't know
basically
whether or
the
not
legendary difficulty, it's the same like in normal as well, the enemies.
Oh, you guys in, like, they're both the same.
Yeah, that's what I've heard anyway. Morning, folks.
I do not know, actually. I probably didn't notice because I was too focused on the timer.
Yeah.
Because, like, 20 minutes is a lot tighter in 0 Hour than it is in Whisper. Oh, man. Then you got the burning floor. And the path you have to
True.
take! Me, Jay, and Duck were playing. We figured out, we discovered on our own that the pathway you have to walk is on, like, a daily rotation, it seems.
Yikes.
So every day you play, you have to figure out what to do so you don't get incinerated by the roof.
And there's good old Trevor.
Oh, Trevor. He honestly doesn't give me that much trouble. He's scary. He's still scary as hell. But I'm good at avoiding him for the most part.
He's the same, right? He hasn't changed at all.
To my knowledge, no. He has not changed. I'm pretty sure he's the same. I think the main changes are, like, enemy structure and then, like, the burning like trap right before the Cryptarch vault.
Right.
There's like a couple extra brigs. There's a brig boss. That's really irritating.
Yeah, I'd say
That
so.
boss room sucks. Oh.
And is Outbreak like worth crafting? Like, is it that much better?
I personally do not know yet. I haven't used it that much yet.
But, like,
We'll
have
see.
you seen like the perk selection or whatever, like the upgrades?
Oh yeah. The one everyone's talking about is rewind rounds. It can get rewind rounds, which sounds like it has potential.
Ooh.
That might be
that's
spicy.
Gonna be doing some numbers. Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure, man.
I'll never forget using Outbreak against what's the name of that boss in Insurrection Prime? Was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just melted that boss. I remember that. I think that has to have done like more damage than any other primary has in Destiny history. It's ridiculous.
Honestly, probably.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
But yeah, no. With all that being said, I say we finish this thing.
Oh
Get it
yeah.
done.
Oh yeah.
The last thing that watch my internet get yoinked again. How funny would
Oh
that be?
god. Oh man.
It's like the
I don't
ghost
think
of
he likes
Nezarec
the-
is like haunting my router.
Yeah, he didn't like the things we were saying about him last time.
No, he didn't.
A little birdie whispered something into his ear and he was not pleased.
You gonna move Eramis at all, lol? You don't like where I have Eramis? I think she is very comfortable where she is, if you ask me. I just it's personal, okay? I mean, I know it shouldn't be, and I try not to be with these rankings, but for Eramis, I will make an exception, okay? With Nezarec though, it's really tricky. In terms of power level, even though he looks all goofy, I do think his power level was pretty strong. Not only was he able to have the light and darkness at the end, but he even says that he actually was stronger before, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Which is also, I have no idea how Savathun killed him then. Like, if he was stronger before he had the light and darkness, like, okay, dude. I think his design is absolutely atrocious.
Oh god, yeah.
That being said, in terms of threat level, I understand that he's like really powerful, but like I don't know what he would have done if like I don't know what he would have done if we didn't stop him. Maybe he could have taken control of the Black Fleet. Maybe he could have, like, that was outside the portal. Or no, was it just that one ship that was outside? No, sorry, because we have Onslaught. Yeah, my guess is he probably would have just taken control of the Black Fleet that was outside of the portal. Maybe he would have just given everybody nightmares.
I definitely think so. That's what he was doing as soon as he got brought back, as he was just
trolling,
haunting Neomuna, pretty much.
Yep. He did have an interest in the Vex stuff on Neomuna, which I thought was interesting.
That's true. I'm pretty sure he somehow got into the Cloud Arc through the Vex network. I think that's why.
That makes sense. That does make sense. As much as I don't like the way they handled the character at all in Lightfall, judging the power level and that the character does need to be, unfortunately, like I do kind of have to put the character like in A tier just from power level alone, because if I put the character in with Fikrul, right, it doesn't work. Like the character, like Nezarec would absolutely stomp Fikrul. If I put him in with here's the other issue, he can't die. Like he actually cannot
Yes,
die. He
that's
just
true.
keeps coming back to, and not like in a ha ha he Thanos kind of way. He literally seems to be invincible, which is, yeah. Also, would he beat Skolas? I think so.
Yeah, yeah, I reckon.
But here's the issue, right? Skolas himself wasn't necessarily powerful. Skolas got put in the A tier because his story was good, and also the threat that he would have presented if we hadn't stopped him was pretty high. Nezarec, the threat he would have presented if we didn't stop him is kind of ambiguous. His story, the way they handled it in the end, was absolute garbage. The only thing he has going for him is power level. So it's like, how far does that take him? It's really difficult. Because if he didn't have that power level, honestly, I would probably put him like in B tier, maybe. But the power level's a bit tricky. Because like, a dude who can constantly come back to life, who can have, well, in the end he had the light and the darkness, and who seemingly can just give people nightmares from like a million miles away. And actually, he said that if he had his original power, he could have just killed people like remotely with his nightmares.
Ooh,
Wait, how do you even do that? Wait,
something evil.
Wait, can you imagine that? That like you're just asleep, and then you get Freddy Kruegered? Like
Yeah.
actually Freddy Kruegered?
Yeah, he is basically Destiny Freddy Krueger, pretty much.
So, I don't feel like I can. I feel like Bungie's twisting my arm and they're making me put him in a higher tier than I want to put him in. Also, they're holding my router hostage.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually like, there's like a bad juju pointed at my head
Oh man.
while I'm talking. I don't know. What do you think?
Nezarec. Honestly, I'd say you could put him like bottom of A tier. I don't know if he would. I'm not sure whether or not he'd be as strong as Rolk. It's really hard to say just because we haven't seen enough of either character in action.
Yeah, and this is this is like light and darkness Nezarec as well.
Yeah. The whole thing about that though is both powers rejected him in the end is the thing, I think. Like he had control of both momentarily, but they kind of that's why like the damage phase starts, I think, if I remember correctly.
Right. It kind of seems like to be a temporary thing though.
Yeah.
So as long as that didn't go off while he was fighting Rock, it would be probably not as bad.
I reckon.
But the thing is, right, there's Rogue, but then he would absolutely curb stomp Gaul.
Yeah.
He'd also curb
That's
stomp
true.
Axis, and would he beat Crota? That it's a little bit trickier.
Yeah, I'd say so. We don't know enough about. I don't know. That's kind of what's stumping me, is there's just not a lot of information about the disciples, like in general. We just don't know a lot about them. We've only known like 2 real disciples and 1 like fake one, kinda. I'd say anyway.
I'm
And
gonna
then,
just
like-
stick him. I'm gonna just stick him. Like, I wish I could put him like, whatever. Dude, you know what's funny? I got a DM from somebody who was basically laughing at me for putting the Witness in A tier. And they're like, "What, dude, I thought you hated the Witness. Why are you putting him in A, lol?" And I'm like, dude, it's not that I want to do this, but like, I'm trying to be fair. Now,
Yeah.
Eramis, I don't care. Screw Eramis. But everybody else, I kind of need to be a bit fair. With the power level of Nezarec, I do not feel good putting him in B, as much as I would love to. I kind of have to put him in, like,
That's kind of fair.
Actually, wait. Do you know what? Wait a minute. We're doing the coin toss.
Okay.
Doing the coin toss. Okay. Heads, he gets put in A. Tails, he gets put in B. Best of 3.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right, man. Let's see
Okay,
if he can influence
A.
this one.
And okay. Democracy is spoken. We are putting
All
you
right.
in A. Yeah, okay. Zorpalods.
Oh, I think the important question is, could the Zorpalads beat Mario? That's what I want to know.
Mario.
Like, if Mario got a fire flower, would the Zorpalad be able to do anything? That's what I'm curious about. Because, like, the Zorpalads, you know, they got, like, what's their leader called again?
Oh, I was literally, I pulled up his lore thing. I was literally about to read out some Zorpalod lore.
Oh, did you make your own?
No, somebody else did.
Oh, let's listen to it. I'm
Okay.
curious.
So, the Zorpalods lore page on Destinypedia.
They made a Destinypedia page for it.
Yep.
Oh boy, I'm excited.
The Zorpalods are a race of enemies introduced in Season of the Plague. History. As the war between the Hive and the Ecumeny raged, the Zorpalods and Astro Demons were the only civilizations that prepared for a potential mass exodus in the, at the time, unlikely event that the battle shifted in favor of the Hive. This preparation paid off, as half their populations were able to successfully evacuate. After the decimation of the Ecumeny, the Zorpalods swore vengeance on all things paracausal. Ooh.
That gives me chills.
Some trivia about the Zorpalods.
Oh boy.
Finishing a Zorpalod, while it is frozen, can sometimes result in the player being gargalost.
What does that mean? Oh boy.
What doesn't it mean?
What doesn't it mean? Oh man.
When I can't speak.
Oh man.
When the perk Zorpal weapon was introduced.
Oh my god. No way.
When the perk Zorpal weapon was introduced, the Zorpalods became the first enemy race to receive a race-specific weapon perk. Oh, interesting.
Huh.
I mean, there was Shankburn to be fair, but in the Season of the Plague, Zorpal weapon was temporarily vaulted, leaving Zorpal champions temporarily unstoppable. This was soon fixed with the introduction of the secret exotic Glorbo's Deception. Wow, dude. I forgot about that, man.
Yeah, Glorbo's Deception was crazy. Like, you could walk up to someone. Like, dude, you gotta think about how meta-defining it is to have a pulse rifle where when you kill your opponent, it bricks their PC. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Literally gargalost their PC.
I still remember when Astacross was playing that one match and he got killed by it and it like bricked his PC and he just looked into the camera and frowned and he looked really sad.
Yeah, he really got zorped then, didn't he?
He got
so zorped.
Oh man.
And then the exotic Glorbo's Deception, this was able to stun them, but had an extremely high chance of the player permanently being gargalost. Oof.
Does it say anything about getting gargalost?
No, but we've got list of appearances. Destiny 2, The Final Shape, first mentioned. Season of the Plague, first appearance. Destiny 3, Season of the FOMO, and Season of the Slugger. Oh, and references, all the references and stuff, it was revealed to me in a dream.
Oh man.
But leadership, they've got Zargwe.
Zargwe, that's the guy's name.
Yep, yep, yep.
I still thought it was crazy in the raid when you fought Zargwe, and you had to do the thing where like, I think the mechanic was like a blunt rotation or something, right? You had to like,
Yeah.
one player had to run over and rip the blunt out of his mouth, and you all had to pass it around until you
Yes.
got like the hot boxed perk, and then you could damage him. That was insane.
Oof. Zargwe is the regent of the Zorpalods and main boss of the Vow of Zargwe raid.
Wow, Zargwe.
Originally a well-known and successful slugger, Zargwe was elected regent of Sluggaria only a few years before the arrival of the Hive. He had big plans for his people. Once the Zorpalods evacuated Sluggaria, his title was changed to Regent of the Zorpalods. He quickly lost his mind, vowing vengeance on the Hive, and by extension everything paracausal. He is known to have fought the Witness on numerous occasions, but was never able to defeat them.
Oh man.
Yep.
Better luck next
Dude
time.
is
my
12
friend.
meters tall? What?
12 meters? That's a big owl. Oh my god. I mean, that can't be that any bigger than like any other, like, raid boss. 'Cause like a meter's like what? 3 feet 3 inches? Let me look this up. I'll use Crota as an example. Crota Destiny. Roughly 10 to... He cannot be 10 to 15 feet, is he really? Is that how tall he is? I mean, if Crota's only like 15 feet tall, then like, what did you say? 20 meters? That would be really... It came to me in a dream. Yeah, 20 meters is that's gotta be like Oryx height, probably. I don't know. Probably not that big. I don't know.
I don't know, dude, but that's a big bird.
It is a big bird.
That has to go Ascendant. I mean, the lore is so compelling, and not only is the story compelling, but the threat and the power level is actually really, really intense. Like, makes me sweat a little bit just thinking about fighting this dude.
Oh yeah, man, that was such a crazy. That whole thing with them, their whole story arc was so crazy. I remember I had a friend who hadn't played Destiny before, and I decided to get them into Destiny, and I played with them through like a lot of the Zorpalod content. And he was so like blown away by it. He actually like bawled his eyes out just out loud in my room.
Yep.
He reached for Never mind. That's a bad idea. I'm not gonna go there.
You should not. I don't know what you. I don't know where you could have gone with that, but I'm gonna recommend you don't.
I don't want to get your channel deleted.
No.
No.
Anyway, that's we're just gonna put that there and move on.
Yeah. Let's put him in Ascendant. I think he belongs there.
Sapphire, how you doing, man? I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing good. Eramis is in the trash. Okay. Right. Let me. Okay. Let me explain. Let me explain this.
That was me. Trust. So true.
So true. Eramis is in the trash because of what she represents. Eramis represents two things. In my opinion, on the one hand, you have Eramis representing Bungie dodging what should have been the main story in Beyond Light. You need to understand, right? And I know that this is kind of subjective, but like, just hear me out, okay? We had a buildup of 3 years for the pyramids. We just were coming off of Season of Arrivals. They were in our system. They were taking our planets. They were terraforming our worlds. The second collapse was imminent. Ancient power waits for you on Europa. I went to Europa. You know what I got? I got a Fallen Story and a Vex Strike. that ain't what I signed up for. Eramis is not what I wanted. When everybody was going to Europa and they were all excited, do you think we were all going for Eramis? No. We were going for the pyramid. And we didn't get the pyramid. We got Eramis and her boo-hoo angry grudge against the Traveler. So that is why, on the one hand, she's trash. Also, let's be objective here. Threat level, House Salvation got curb stomped. They didn't actually have stasis, they just had it in the use of technology, which they didn't even fully understand because she literally froze herself because it malfunctioned.
True. That's true.
So, I mean, it's like a GG, right? It's natural selection if you ask me. And then, on the other hand, in my opinion, Eramis also represents Bungie's unwillingness to just kill a villain, and also just make a villain stay bad. It's the same kind of thing with Savathun, but Eramis is like the extreme example of that, where she began as the villain, and I knew it. It was Season of the Seraph, and Marasov was asking Eramis about her feelings and how she was feeling, and giving her therapy over the Skype call that I had to be the awkward third wheel to. What? I was like, are you kidding? This is a villain who is literally actively trying to kill all of us, and you're giving her the god complex queen of the Awoken. Are you kidding me? And from that moment on, I knew that she was not going to stay a villain. And yeah, dude, I mean, if it was me, I would have just shadow dived her the moment I had the chance. Like, she is not a good guy. Anyway, she's trash. I'm keeping her there. There's nothing compelling about her, in my opinion.
It still frustrates me to this day that she had that little sword fight with Mithrax and we were just sort of standing there watching it happen. Like I always like he could have been killed. Like he could have died there. We were just standing there watching it.
And like it would have been
like, come
better
on,
if it was like an honor duel kind of thing, where it's like, oh, I challenge you, like one warrior to another or whatever. And it's like, okay, that's fine. I will respect the traditions, you know. But it was just like a brawl. Like it was like just open. Everything goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not moving her. And like, listen, if you like Eramis, that's fine. I'm just saying, like, I think she represents things that offend the sensibilities of my site, and so that's why she's in the trash. So I don't have to look at her. Okay. Next up, we have Luke Smith.
Oh boy.
The Sunsetter.
Oh, he did do that, didn't he?
He did do that. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Wait a minute. I need to pull something up.
Oh boy.
I need to pull something up. Oh no. I'm trying to find the thesis that he wrote on the one twab.
Huh. Thesis.
Do you remember he wrote like that really long post, basically arguing his point?
Oh, about sunsetting?
Yes, like trying to like explain why it's a good thing.
It's been a long time. I do vaguely remember something like that, though.
He wrote a really long post on the forums.
Oh man.
And not the forums. Sorry, it was like the twab.
I see.
Oh. Wait, that news article is no longer available. Oof.
Oh, it does it not exist anymore?
I think it may have been deleted.
Oh man.
Oof. Okay.
Nova Warp is an IP defi. That's
True.
crazy that they were almost going to remove
That's
supers from the game. Oh man.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, do you remember it was almost like sunsetting was bad enough, but it was like them being like, what's the word? Like conservative with their vision. Like, oh, we want to do more, but we'll just do this for now.
I don't know. It's just like I feel like the thing that takes up the bulk of space is like the destinations. I don't even think that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about game development other than like modding DDLC. So I don't fucking know. But like, I can't see like the supers taking up that much space. Like I could not.
Vaulting is from an actual like technical standpoint where it's like we need to do this to be able to keep making like content and to be like it's an actual kind of necessity. Sunsetting was a game design choice. Does that make sense? Like sunsetting didn't need to happen.
Yeah, the weapons.
Like it was a choice because they wanted to artificially force us. But this, I'm just gonna be honest. They made guns that were really powerful, and they needed to get us to use worse guns, so they forced us to use worse guns. That's really what it is.
Pretty much, yeah. They caused like such bad power creep that they couldn't do anything.
And like the funny
at the
thing
time,
is
like,
that now that we're getting those guns back, and it's not really as big of a deal because we have new systems, new mods, you know, like the synergies with like the subclasses, you know, like with solar arc, you know, all the different
because the meta's changed a lot since those guns.
They basically took the guns away, and they didn't have a solution for it, and then it took them I don't know how many years to come up with a solution. Like for example, if they sunset the weapons, and then Beyond Light gave us like subclasses 3.0 and all that other stuff, and we got like, you know, the new perks, it wouldn't have been that bad at all. But
yeah,
I forgot to add Pete Parsons. Yeah. Ugh. Nah, I'm not gonna add Pete. But Luke, here's the thing with Luke. Luke is somebody, because I've done some digging, not digging, but like I've
was messing up.
Yeah, my internet died first, but dude, Nezarec is like,
I see.
Nezarec's just reminding me that he's there, he's waiting.
Oh no.
Yeah, okay, sorry, what was the last thing you heard?
The last thing I heard was something about
I was talking about Luke Smith being a Scarab Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think your internet, I think your connection was messing up the second you started talking about that.
No, wait, it was
Not
Luke.
like the moment we were talking about Luke Smith. I mean like the second you started talking about that specific thing.
Okay,
I think
so
Luke
Smith was a Scarab Lord, basically. And just long story short, what that meant was that like several years ago in World of Warcraft, there was like a big, massive event, and it was like it had to do with like opening up a portal or whatever. And like it took like the whole server to like, you know, all the people to work towards, you know, doing it. But only one person on the server could actually do the thing. And whoever that one person was would get that title of Scarab Lord. So it's like it's a really, really rare title.
That's kind of cool.
So like if you see somebody with that, you know that they were at that thing several years ago, and that they were the one person in the server to do it, like to be the chosen one, effectively.
Oh wow.
So Luke was that. So he's like really big in World of Warcraft, and
I see.
From what it looks like, it seems like a lot of stuff with Destiny and like the MMO aspects kind of comes from him. And yeah, I don't know. I don't like, people look at him and they put a lot of blame on him. For me, it's kind of hard to say, right? Like he designed Vault of Glass, and then he so when D1 first came out, he was mainly just kind of like, he wasn't too high up, but he wasn't like just a random worker either. He did have some
He
say.
was the lead raid designer, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's what he did.
Yeah. And then after D1, he became the game director for Taken King. And then when D2 was rebooted and the previous game director for D2 stepped down, he then became the game director for D2. That's actually another really good point. D2 being so casual friendly and being so watered down, you have to wonder how much of that was his fault. Because he was the game director. You know?
That's true, yeah.
You remember? No random roles.
Oh, man.
The class trees being watered down. Like,
Yeah.
how much of that was him and his vision?
Man, those were crazy times. Like it's crazy. Like, it's weird to think about. There was like a point where it got to a point where like there was no reason to play. Like literally no reason to play at all. Like once you got everything, that was it, because it was all fixed rules. Man, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's really insane.
So again, like maybe it wasn't him, but I feel like as the game director, like if you really didn't, like here's the thing. If random roles being gone, if that wasn't his fault, you still have the watering down of the classes. Also, don't forget, sprint speed was super slow, supercharged speed super slow.
Yeah. That's right.
Exotics from public events. The whole RNG of all like the endgame was like bright or the engrams. Shaders being one-time use.
Oh, that sucked so bad. That was so annoying. I remember that.
So it's like, like
Ooh.
if there's one piece of poo in like the bowl of cornflakes, maybe it's not his fault. If there's 15 of them, even if half of them are his fault, that's still pretty bad. Right? Like that's still pretty.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. And then Forsaken, basically everything up until Forsaken, apart from Curse of Osiris, was basically like damage control and then trying to like save the company. And then after they established the goodwill with Forsaken, you have D3 being cancelled, and then champions in Shadowkeep.
Oh.
I don't think I've heard a single person ever say champions are great. I love playing against champions.
Yeah, I don't. In a game all about build crafting and making your build unique, forcing players to use a specific weapon, like you're being forced to use it, not a wise decision.
And when they first introduced it was even rougher. Like, wasn't there like you'd have to put like a mod or something on, right?
Yeah, it was a mod. You put the mod on the gun, so like you'd have to like put it on your hand cannon, so you were sacrificing like aim assist or like a bigger magazine size for that champion mod.
Yeah, it was rough, man.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what they were trying to do. I think they just executed it very, very poorly. I think the modern enemy, like the thing they do now where they got like the like the Hive Guardians and the Tormentors and the Subjugators, where it adds something challenging to the sandbox, but it doesn't force you to like change up the way you play.
But
that's a lot.
It's the exact same as sunsetting, right? It's the exact same, because what it all comes down to is Bungie really wants to control how we play, and we don't want that. When the game is really like in a bad state, that is often when they have implemented a system, or when the game is in a state that they have really like a lot of control over us. And then, when the game is really bad and everybody's leaving, they're like, oh, sorry guys, we're going to fix the game now. And if you look at what they do to introduce to the game to make it better, these are things that release control and give it back to us. You know?
Yeah.
So, and I think honestly, Prismatic is a really good example of that. Like, but no, I think in terms of a villain, power level, people actually thought that after Beyond Light, Luke Smith got like demoted or fired. Dude, he got promoted. He got promoted.
I forget to what position, but yeah, he basically just moved up
I have a
in
theory.
the food chain.
I have a theory.
Oh boy.
A game theory.
Oh.
People were thinking like, oh, he was gonna be working on like a Destiny TV show or something. But with that leak about D3, I wonder if he like began working on D3.
That's possible.
If he was
That's
like, the game
definitely
director
possible.
of D3, because also it wasn't just him. It was also was it Mark Noseworthy, I think, as well, who was the. Let me double check this.
That sounds right.
No. Yeah. Yeah, Mark Noseworthy. Yeah, he was the other kind of like co-game director for D2. Skipping this.
Okay.
Anyway, power level. The dude is absolutely insane. Threat level. Threat level.
Oh man.
We've been there. We've seen that. And story. Look at this guy. Like, such a compelling story. And he went all the way from being like a kind of games journalist dude with Halo, joining the company, becoming game director, putting his vision into place, and no, this guy goes to the Ascended tier.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Also, my friend's in the chat and he goes, "There's a D3 leak."
Oh, sorry, Jaden. Yeah, I didn't go into detail about it because it's whatever.
And I don't think he was the. Remember the other thing where I was talking about, oh, my best friend who doesn't play the game anymore? That's him.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't think he would care about leaks, personally. I would assume, because he doesn't play the game.
Gotta come back, man. Like Dado says, now is the time.
Yeah, Dado said, Jaden Hunter, come back to Destiny 2. He said it himself, I heard him.
Did you just do a Dado impression?
Vaguely.
I thought I heard it, yeah. I'm actually gonna skip the Winnower and we're gonna go to Atheon. We're gonna save the best for last.
I'm perfectly fine with that, actually, honestly.
Atheon, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I don't even really know what this guy was trying to do. I actually don't really know what he was trying to do.
So the whole thing with the Vault of Glass is the only stuff I really remember about it is theories. The most compelling theory I ever remember hearing about the Vault of Glass is that it was the Vex's sort of take on like a throne world, like a realm, like a segment of reality where you have ultimate control, because that's kind of what a throne world is. And that like they were like so influenced by Oryx when they went into his throne world that they were like, oh, we should do some of this stuff. And so they kind of constructed a place where like they could control reality as they please. That I'm pretty sure that's just a theory though. But I do remember hearing that back in the day. That was from back during like the Taken King era, that one. I'm pretty sure. There might be new stuff. I remember, I don't know how much merit there is behind it. I remember hearing someone say that they were gonna try and like release the Gorgons like outside of the vault. I don't know about that though. I remember hearing someone say that though, but I'm not sure.
I looked up a thing and it says that basically he has complete control over time within the vault, and then there are like multiple timelines, like a lot of timelines that converge onto the Vault of Glass, and that allows him to basically manipulate like reality, like in bulk timelines. Like he can just like manipulate a ton of them at once.
Yeah,
that
like,
sounds
like a
specific mind
correct.
for like each timeline, you know. Now, what he was trying to do with that, kind of hard to say. I don't know, but
yeah, no, I think it was just more of the Vex kind of trying to cement their place as like the winners of the game, pretty much.
Yeah,
that's what I think, at least.
Do you know what? Actually, I had a thought yesterday. Do you remember the Heathen Lords?
Vaguely. I know that there's like
It's
some of that's
from-
like
it's
named in
from
some of the
stuff in
gear.
Vault of Glass. Yeah, isn't it like the...
I think the rocket
He's in
launcher is
Vengeance, wasn't
something
it?
of the Heathen.
Dude, I just got a freaking 2014 flashback getting that. Holy crap. Yeah, he's in Vengeance. I have... Oh yeah, he's in Axis, what they were called. He's in whatever, Axis Mind. Yep. He's tireless and infinite. Anyway,
Huh.
I'm gonna put him... I don't... So, threat level, right? If you're dealing with time, and you're dealing with realities, that is pretty powerful.
The thing is, though, is they cannot do that outside of the vault, is the thing, I'd say.
Theoretically, what would happen if we dropped a nuke on it? Like, on the Vault of Glass?
The Vex are causal, so it would get destroyed, I'm sure. I don't know.
How come we just don't use nukes more often? We have Eramis and the House of Salvation. Just drop a nuke on them.
I don't...
We got a gold
Maybe we
ship
just...
in the Red War. Why not just blow it up with a mini nuke? That would have saved so much time.
Maybe, I don't know. I do know a lot of Golden Age knowledge was lost, so
I know.
it's possible that they might just not know how. That, or it's just because nukes have so much like negative effects after getting set off that they're just like, we'd rather not deal with that.
But there were
like,
nukes in the Deep Stone Crypt, which we.
Oh, that's true. That is gold. That is Golden Age tech, though. That was before the collapse.
We do have access to it, though.
Oh yeah. You're right. I don't know. I don't know if Clovis would be willing to share, though.
No.
He doesn't.
And Rasputin's gone, so.
Yeah. Rip that guy.
Aethion's story doesn't really have a story. I mean, you could maybe attach the story of Kabir and Pahanin and Pradith to him, but kind of separate. Threat level, it's kind of hard to say because again, we never really got to see what Aethion was gonna do.
I'd say the greater meaning behind the Vault of Glass is kind of more cementing the themes of Destiny as a whole,
Right.
because I'd say by all means the Vault of Glass, like Aethon, I'd say that's more than likely like the peak of causal power within Destiny's universe.
That's actually a really good way of putting it.
Like by all means, like by all like sense of logic, we should have been erased from time because they have full control within the vault. But the thing is, paracausal beings are immune to logic. Yeah. If we have the willpower, we can defy logic in our favor, and that's like what Vault of Glass is about, is making our own fate. It's kind of like a little tease to what Destiny's theme as a whole is you decide your own fate. You don't let someone else decide your fate for you. And that kind of goes into even like the themes of like the final shape and like the greater themes of Destiny. Like, who does the witness or the winnower think they are to think that they get to decide the fate of everything, like when each and every individual should be able to decide their own fate, basically.
Yeah. No, and that is actually really interesting. I just wish I think if there was, and that's the other aspect of it, like the Vault of Glass is also very mysterious intentionally, right? And,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm thinking it might put him in B.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
It's like same tier as Riven. I think that's perfectly valid.
Yeah, I'm gonna put him in, and I think Queria, yeah, it's fine.
Another interesting thing about the Vault of Glass, I just thought I'd bring it up because I think it's an interesting detail. Vex Mythoclast. I think the interesting thing about that is, so the name like Mythoclast, that's Latin for like myth breaker or like breaker of myths.
That's cool.
So I think that Vex Mythoclast, I think that because it doesn't really have its own lore, quote unquote. I think that the meaning behind the gun is that it's meant to be like physical proof that the Vex aren't unbeatable. I think that's what it's meant to be. Like
That's
it breaks
that's
the myth
cool.
that no one can defeat the Vex.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's really, I think that's interesting.
It kind of also is. It brings back that kind of like old Destiny, not fantasy, but kind of like, you know what I mean, like the kind of mythological element, like the
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I miss D1. I haven't done Vault of Glass in years at this point. I need to go back and do it.
Like D1 Volta Glass?
D2, even. I'm
Ah.
just Vault of Glass full stop. When was the last time I did Vogue? Maybe last year. I don't know. I don't remember.
The
No, it had to
last
be
time
last
I
year.
remember, the last time I remember doing Vogue is doing the Master One and utterly cheesing the raid with the glitch crafted weapon. Oh
Bro,
man.
that sounds so fun.
Yes, you ever see me playing like Destiny and you see me, I have like the Vault Strider ship on? Just know I didn't get that legit. You don't need to give me credit for that.
Cheesing, I
It's
don't
just a
care,
cool
dude.
ship.
It's impressive cheesing it. It's fine.
Oh man. That was such a funny,
I mean, don't we
horrible,
literally
horrible,
cheese-
horrible state of.
Don't we canonically cheese the Vault of Glass because we're Power Console?
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's canon. It's a canon event. Yeah. Yeah. You've got and the glitched weapons are just more myth breakers, right?
Yeah, I'd suppose. I guarantee you they're gonna write that into a lore tab. They love to do that.
Yeah.
Like an offhanded reference. Because they'll do stuff like that where like Guardians canonically will just go catatonic for a moment and just break out into dance. I think they even gave an actual explanation for it too. I think it's because like since Guardians die so much and come back, they're kind of in like a weird like desensitized state of mania or something.
Bro,
I remember reading that somewhere.
that's pretty funny.
Oh yeah.
We have the last one.
Oh boy. Oh boy, the one I've been looking forward to the most.
This is a
Ah.
character who has. So okay, let me give you a little bit of a backstory here. When I played D1, I was always Jade Rabbit. What? What do you mean, man? Also, I don't think I've seen you here before, so thank you for being here, man. I really appreciate it. I was really interested in knowing like what caused the collapse. And when I was younger, I was actually under the impression that it was all of the like enemy races or whatever that like came in and they whooped us and then kind of like just settled the system for themselves. Oh, got you. I got you. Jade Rabbit says Guardians are on drugs. Dude, I would not be surprised. I would not be.
Snorting ether.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm pretty sure Drifter says ether does get you high. I
would not
remember
be
that.
surprised. I would not be surprised at all, dude. Can Exos get high?
I would
It's
imagine
like
they
their brain
could.
is like, oh, well, this would make a human high, so I'm going to induce you into a psychosis state.
I think so. I think if Exos can like eat and other stuff, I imagine, like if they could feel hungry, I think they could get high. I'm sure. Especially like because like they're meant to fully replicate all of the senses that a human has, so they don't go crazy
Yeah.
and rip themselves apart.
Going back to the big boy, what really got me interested in the character was honestly it was actually unveiling that first kind of maybe even to think about there being a... I mean, no, I take that back, sorry. There was the Books of Sorrow with Oryx and the Majestic page. There was that, to be fair. But I just didn't, like, really think about it. I don't know, like, I was
A lot of
interested in the
people
lore.
didn't, I feel like.
I was really interested in the lore, and I cared about the story, but, like, I didn't go digging into things, right? I just kind of, like, watched lore videos, and, like, I would read Grimoire cards, and I would, you know, whatever. But if you're looking at the Winnower, right? The Winnower is, and I know, like, there's a lot of people that don't believe the character exists, but in my opinion, we do have a track record of events and conversations, and I think we can kind of piece together a bit of the story of this character. And I'm not going to go into, like, a huge thing about it. If you're interested, I really recommend that you watch my Winnower video. So I do have the Big Boy Unveiling video, which goes over that whole thing and explains why I believe that lore book is legit. But I do have a separate video. I think it's about maybe like 40 minutes long. That's on the Winnower specifically. And I spent a lot of time on that video. I think it's a really good video. And if you haven't seen it, I think you will enjoy it. I've had a few people saying that it completely changed their perspective on things once they watched it. So if you haven't watched that, I definitely recommend that you check that out. But the Winnower is really interesting because I think my favorite thing about the Winnower as a character is that the dude is genuinely not evil. I do not believe that the character is evil. It really breaks down morality into... Like, this is a story and a concept that breaks down morality as we think of it into its coldest sense. And it's like, well, actually, me killing these people is morally good because I am giving them mercy on the largest cosmic scale. And what's really interesting is that in the Garden game, it's pretty clear that even though the Flower game ended the same way every single time, there was a balance to it, and there was no unnecessary violence or suffering. And when you look at why the Winnower opposes the Gardener, it's not like, oh, I'm against life, and the Gardener is for life, so we're enemies. It's really, it comes down to why the Gardener wanted to change the game. And ultimately, it's like why the Gardener wants to give Golden Ages, right? And it's from a very selfish reason. She acts as if like, oh, it's because I want to give life a chance, you know, life that wouldn't normally win, I want to give them a chance. But really, it's because she was bored. And it's a very selfish and self-centered reason, you know? And the way I kind of look at it is, the Winnower is somebody who kind of just lays it out on the table and is very upfront, very cold, and just literally says it how it is. I feel like the Gardener is a character who kind of is a bit wishy-washy, a bit emotional, might, like, you know, but kind of will justify their actions, you know, going in very kind of different layers of explanations and reasons why it's a good thing. But at the end of the day, the Gardener was just bored. And even though, you know, she might be like, oh, well, I wanted to give life a chance, and, you know, it's only fair, and it's like whatever. Really, it came down to the fact that she hated losing all the time, and she was bored of it, and she wanted to change it. And the reason why the Winnower was against that was because the Winnower was clear, and he said, if you do this, it's going to disrupt the balance, and it's going to create chaos. And in that chaos that we can't control, there's going to be suffering. And you're literally going to create a universe, or not universe, but you know, you're going to create a game where there is suffering that just doesn't need to happen, and it's just not necessary. And it's like, yeah, the Winnower was the guy who would cull the weak life at the end of the day, but it wasn't out of, you know, any kind of ill intent or maliciousness. So the Winnower doesn't want to see anybody suffer. Like the Winnower doesn't want there to be misery. And ultimately, what it comes down to is the Winnower's final shape is a universe where there's nothing left. And it's not like, you know, oh, well, I'm just going to snap my fingers and then kaboom. It's just the sword logic. And the beauty of the sword logic is that you either become strong enough to live forever to see the final shape of that sword logic, or you die and you become a part of that foundation. And the reality is that no one is strong enough. No king rules forever. And everybody's going to die eventually. And in the end, all you're going to have left would be the Deep, or the Winnower, and the Taken. Which is why, and I've got a video coming up on this, where Eris says that the Taken are beings rendered final, or exalted. And that's really the end state of the universe if the Winnower has his way. And so the question is like, okay, why does the Winnower want there to be nothing left? The reason why is pretty simple, which is that he sees the whole universe as a mistake. The Destiny universe was never supposed to happen. It was never supposed to happen. If you think about it, and this is kind of like another argument to be made about, you know, oh, well, why do you think that there was like an original garden outside of time and before the Destiny universe? If the Winnower was against the gardener changing the rules of the game for the reasons he gave, why would he be okay with the Destiny universe existing full stop? Because the Destiny universe, and the universe as we know it, is full of needless suffering. And especially with the Golden Ages and all that going on. And what it comes down to is the Winnower is basically... So, let me put it like this. The Gardener put herself into the game. Put herself in the Destiny universe to give Golden Ages and to try and make sure that there could be, you know, whatever. The Winnower put himself into the game and actually got involved for a different reason. Because originally with the same pattern that would win over and over and over again. And some people think that it was the Vex. Some people actually think that it may have been humanity, but ultimately that original winning pattern, once it entered the universe, was now no longer the winning pattern. Like, it was never guaranteed to win. Maybe, if it was the Vex, they're still trying to win, but it's not guaranteed. And the Winnower looks around and sees how the rules are completely broken. And even if somebody, let me put it like this. This is actually literally like, even if the Witness, something like the Witness, becomes powerful enough to achieve a final shape, the Witness came from a race who got a Golden Age. Why should the Winnower recognize that as a fair win? Why? They're literally, and for the record, even if you want to be like, oh yeah, but they killed themselves and they became the Witness, and the Witness is the darkness, so it's fine. Okay, they're still flying around and using technology that was given to them by the Gardener for their Golden Age. It's an unfair advantage that should never have happened. So there is literally no case where, maybe the Vex, but I don't even know. There's no case where anyone else can achieve a Golden Age and the Winnower is going to think that that is just and fair. So the Winnower looks around, sees the mess of the universe, and goes, fine, I'll do it myself. And you have a character who has been... And they've kind of changed it now, I think, with the Veil. So before, I do think that the Winnower was a character and an entity that could move around and actually enforce its will on things. Maybe destroy life, destroy planets, whatever, I don't know. I think they've changed that now with the Veil. So now, the Winnower needs to rely on the Taken, and also servants like Oryx and I guess the Witness. The Winnower is really a manipulator. And the beauty of the Winnower manipulating is that the Winnower isn't lying. The thing that I love so much about this part of the story is that Seth Dickinson, who did the story of the Books of Sorrow and the Winnower and the Deep and all that, literally wrote it so that the bad guys were kind of right. And that's why in that quote in my unveiling video, that's like the whole point, the deeper point of the story. It's like, why, like, finding the reason to do the morally right thing, even if it isn't actually like the competitively right thing to do. Like, it's not the most advantageous thing to do. And they wrote it in a way, or he wrote it in a way, so that it actually makes sense. And so you have, for example, Oryx is completely on board with the deep because it makes sense to him. You have the Pyramid Race with their golden age or their paradise, and I believe they were manipulated by the Winnower into desiring a final shape and whatever. And so the Winnower's been able to get these different races to follow him and act as well. And I know that the story of the Winnower is now like, well, where is the character? He said he was going to show up, didn't show up, what's going on? Is the Winnower even real, or is it just the witness, and is Unveiling even real? But I think that as a concept and a character, extremely compelling, very interesting, and I really hope we do see them. Seth has said that he had nothing to do with the final shape. So if they do introduce the Winnower, or even after the final shape, are they going... Music's a bit loud? I can turn that down. Give me 1 second, man. I can turn that down. Give me 1 second. It's my bad. There we go. I don't know if they did introduce the character properly, how much justice they would do him. But anyway, in my opinion, I think this is one of, if not the best written characters we've ever gotten, even though it's been so vague. Just the fact that, in my opinion, that they were able to take a villain and actually make them in the right, while also making it so that we do believe that we need to fight them. It's a really compelling thing. And yeah, no, dude, I know I went on a whole massive ramble, but this is, to me, an ascendant tier character, for sure.
Yeah. If Unveiling is to be believed, he's stronger than any of these. Because he is on a plane higher. I don't know how this might be a little bit controversial. I honestly would argue that the Gardener and Winnower are probably one of the some of the strongest entities in fiction, period, because the entirety of the universe, they're above it. They're above existence.
And the only reason why
I
it's
think
kind
that's
of
really
balanced
cool
is because they both... So the analogy that I always give is that the whole big story of Destiny is really a custody battle between a mom and a dad pulling the kid between them, arguing that they know how to raise them better than the other person. And that's
that
really
makes a lot of sense.
And so because the one parent doesn't have full custody over the kid, they can't like enforce their full influence over the kid. So that kind of balances out the Gardener and the Winnower with the light and the darkness, so that it's kind of balanced in a way. But again, with the final shape, if the one character was able to get full control over the universe, then you're going to see things play out way differently.
Yeah. And even with the Winnower and the whole philosophy behind the darkness specifically, a way I really like to look at it is... Because if you really think about it, the sword logic is pretty much just a zealous form of Darwinism in a lot of ways. Yeah. It's basically just, the strongest survive, which that is how evolution works. Yeah. That's how things adapt, is the strongest comes out on top. But not only that, from a more philosophical standpoint, I think that the Winnower's philosophy is the ultimate form of nihilism in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Where he goes around preaching, all of these things existing, existence is just unnecessary. It perpetuates suffering. So we just need to stop it, basically. That's his end game goal, is to end existence, to stop the suffering, I'd say, or at least bring it to a point where no suffering is left. But like you said, the only way that could really be done is if there's nothing left.
But it's interesting because at the same time, instead of just being like, oh yeah, so I know nothing's going to be left, so why not just kill everything? He encourages everyone to be the best version of yourself that you can be. Try and reach the impossible goal of living forever and being strong enough forever. It's like really like a motivation kind of thing. It's like be the best. It's like self-improvement. Like be the best version of yourself.
But the way I look at it is basic logic, like thinking 100% logical. Like the Winnower is right in a lot of ways. But I think that if like thinking about it like from like a hopeful standpoint, because that's kind of where the light is like it circulates a lot around like hope, whereas the darkness is sorrow. I think that I think that the war between light and darkness is on like a greater, I think like on a broader extent, it's almost just like an argument over. I'm really trying to think of how to word this.
No, you're fine.
Because it's a very complex thing, I'd say. You might need to
That's
give
the
me a
beauty of
moment,
it, though, that it is complex.
Yeah, I'd say. I think an easier way to put it is maybe, even if you're under the impression that life is an accident, that doesn't mean that it should not exist at all. Like even with suffering, there's still beauty within the suffering. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Like there's always a hint of hope.
Right.
And I think that a lot of the it's like the thing I said earlier with the Vault of Glass with Destiny. That's like the whole theme is, sure, we suffer, sure, we have bad times, like, sure, that can happen, but that doesn't give any single entity the right to decide what we do. And that's kind of like what, and that applies to the Gardener, too. Like, that applies to both of them, because they're both, like, they're both the ones playing this game.
The kid is outgrowing the parents.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah. It's very like it's a lot to take in. And I think that's like, I'd say even call it a bit corny, but I think that's like even the beauty of Destiny as a whole in a lot of ways. Like I think that's why, like at least like the story, why I think that's a big part of what has drawn me to it, is it's just this argument between these two is so grand that it's all encompassing, and it feels so large, I suppose.
Yep. Dude, like, here's the thing. Before the unveiling video, I didn't really know too much about Seth Dickinson. Honestly, the only thing that I knew about him was that he had done a lot of the story stuff for like Forsaken and the Taken King and all that. And when I realized how much, because like I'm not just like a fanboy for the sake of it, but like when I realized how much of the story he's responsible for, and when I say the story, I don't even mean like the actual, because from what I've heard, it seems like the people who do the campaign missions are like the one team, and then he is like the guy that did like the world and like the lore.
Yeah.
So, but when I realized how much of that he was responsible for, it's like, wait, this is actually like, this is as close as you're going to get to like a guy, like one guy with a vision. And that is something that I feel has been lacking at Bungie for so long. And listen, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I don't know if it's the narrative team there's like the one person with the vision and everybody's like, okay, aye, Captain, we're gonna follow. I don't know, right? But you know, at least like there's a reason why people call it the Staten cut, because it was Joe Staten. Was he the only guy on the narrative team? Probably not, but like he was the dude, right? And then after he left, it's now been just kind of like, oh, up in the air, and who knows, and narrative writers just, you know, come and go, and it's like who actually is the person with the vision? I feel like Seth is like the closest to that consistently that I've seen, with that amount of years under his belt at Destiny. And no, I think the fact that he not only developed further on the idea of the gardener and the winnower, but also created something that was really, it had no right to go that deep. It really didn't. It was just video game lore that 90% of people don't know about. It didn't have to go that hard.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about it, is it's all like in a video game, and I'd honestly, I'd go as far as to say that Destiny, like the overarching world and the lore and just the universe in general, I think it is one of the most beautifully crafted pieces of fiction just ever, period. I really do. Like it has its, like, yes, it has its downsides. It has Eramis screaming in your ear, and it has Nimbus giving you fist bumps. It has its low points, yes, but I think even yeah, oh man, even through those low points, there's still like I'd even say there's probably more like high points. Like it's just such a it's so intricate and grand. I have trouble putting it into words.
Yeah,
like that's just how. Yeah, it's like and I like it's by far had like more influence on me than like any other piece of media. Like it kind of it inspired me to become like a sort of amateurish writer. Like it hard to put into words. Hard to put into words.
Yeah, honestly, it was not the only reason, but it was like one of the reasons why I went to college for creative writing, because like I wanted to someday join the narrative team. I remember I was like in secondary school, and I'd be on the Bungie website, and I'd be looking at their careers page, and I'd be looking at the narrative team and like what the different like requirements to join the different positions were, and I really wanted to be a part of that, because like this was a world that I really cared about, and that I just wanted to be a part of it. And I think there's a lot of people who have been inspired like that.
Like a lot of like most of the stuff that I've written has been related to Destiny. That's how much of an influence like it has on me. Like I'd be like a little like 14-year-old boy in like school, and they'd be like, okay, write something for this project, do like a creative writing thing, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm gonna write something about Destiny, and no one's gonna understand because nobody else other than me plays this game. Oh man. And yeah, a lot of it was cringe, but a lot of it I think is also, there's some stuff I like, some of that I still have a huge soft spot for, I will be honest.
You imagine you do a school project and it's like about Destiny, but then you just say like, no, I made this whole world up, this is all me. And they have no idea, like, wow, dude, you're so creative, and
oh man,
you came up with all of that.
Yeah, I even remember one of the things I wrote. Someone like said, "Oh wow, you're really creative with the names." When I was like, I
should make a game about
didn't come up with most of these. I'm actually really bad at coming up with names, to be honest. Oh man. Yeah.
Anyway, though, I think that is the tier list. I'm pretty happy with where everybody is. I know like characters like Eramis might be a bit controversial. I know people might be surprised that I have characters like I'm gonna be honest with you. If this was a purely like subjective tier list, I would probably have the Witness I'd probably put the Witness in B tier. I would have Savathun probably in A or B tier. I would probably. I'd probably put Nocris in trash, I'm not gonna lie. I would... Honestly, I would probably put Atheon in A tier, just because I do think Atheon's really cool. And then Axis, I don't actually really care about the Ziva stuff. I never even did Wrath of the Machine. Dude, I had a friend group that I played D1 with. By the time Rise of Iron came out, everybody left. I was the only person in my friend
that's
group
rough.
playing D1, and I got to 400 light solo just by doing the things that would get me, like, whatever. And I never got to do Wrath of the Machine. It's the only raid I never did. So, it's sad.
I've done it once. You know what's extra, like, rough for me? Is for the longest, like, I could not get an Xbox One. Like, I couldn't upgrade until, like, I'd say, like, a week or two after. Like, that birthday I got Destiny 2, I got an Xbox One, pretty much. So, Rise of Iron,
Wow.
even though I did go back and play it, Rise of Iron's not on my legacy at all. So it will be really, even though I played that, it will be really awkward if they ever reintroduce Siva, and my ghost is gonna be like, "Oh, what is this? I've never seen it before," and I'm gonna be like, "Oh, but I know what it is." Oh, and it's like, oh, like it's not a huge deal. It's just something that bothers me a bit. I really don't think they know. I really don't think they're gonna really be doing anything with Siva. To be blunt, though, I think Siva was kind of a one and done thing.
I mean,
They
were
don't
gonna
really
do it in
seem
D2.
to. Yeah, I really think because because they delayed D2 for a bit and Rise of Iron was that filler expansion. I think they took a lot of what they were gonna do with Siva in D2 and put it in D1, and so after that they just didn't know what to do and scrapped it. I don't know though. It's hard to say.
I'm not.
The only.
Yeah, I'm not too fussed about it though. People were like, "Oh, we want a Siva subclass," and I'm like, "That's not gonna happen."
That doesn't make sense. The only. This is an idea I kind of always had. I don't think it makes sense though. Is like, oh, we got light classes and darkness subclasses. I guess other than that, we could do like causal subclasses or something. I don't think they'd ever do that though, because it doesn't make sense. That's just kinetic subclass. Oh man.
It is what it is. Actually, this is not tier list related, but I wanted to show you something actually. And
oh boy.
I noticed this a little while back, but I saw it again today. And let me show you this. I want to get your thoughts and then everybody else's thoughts on these. I had the video. Where is it? Here we go.
The stream's a little bit delayed for me, so I will not see it right
I
away.
hadn't. Okay. So, this is the thing of like the dread with like the Harbinger and Weaver. And what I notice is, so actually, this is probably better. So you see how the guy has a green eye, and then this is what his body looks like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Green. Then. Oh, and then it turns a different color. Is that what you're?
has my stream caught up? Do you see like the?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I like think I know their eye like the eye changed color and they got covered in like a bit of
Yeah,
resonance
no, no,
or
no, no, no.
something.
So yeah, no, the eyes change from green to red,
Hmm.
and then yeah, no, I thought that was interesting. But I don't think the tormentors do that. Like I don't think
Um,
their eyes change from. Do they change from like purple to?
I think they might do something similar. I know that they have some sort of visual indication that they're like aggroed onto you. I do remember that. I don't know if it's the same thing.
That isn't resonance, by the way. Like there is resonance there, but
Yeah, you're right. It does look a little bit different. I mean, one thing I'm noticing is that I'm pretty sure that is the same. That might be the same, like glow that like the pale heart taken eyes have.
that's
'Cause
another
one
thing. Have
thing
you
I've been,
noticed their eyes are different?
yeah, yeah, they have their eyes have a different color in the paled heart, which I find interesting. That's a very random detail to just change.
Mm-hmm. It do. Tormentor's eyes. Do the eyes go red, guys? The tormentors?
Tormentor eye glow when they're about to do a grab attack.
Yeah, check these. Let me check these. Second. No, that video quality's not really. Here we go. This. So he's got purple eye. No, I said pink eye, lol. It's purple eye, and then make him enraged. I don't have it on the screen, so if you don't see it, it's fine. And then no, he's still purple. Oh yeah, when you get grabbed, his eye gets red. Interesting.
Hmm.
No, I just wanted to point that out. I thought that was really interesting. People are saying Strand is Siva?
I know. I'm pretty sure the nanites are like a very, very advanced version of it when it's like not corrupted and it's like uncorrupted form. I am talking about like a full on. If you're referring to me talking about them not really doing anything with like the story, like with the story, that's real. That's not like a whole Siva arc. What I mean is something like Rise of Iron, where Siva is prominent. I don't think they're gonna make it like that prominent ever again, where it's like the focal point of an expansion. Because I just don't think there's really anything. I honestly I don't think there's really anything else they could do with it other than like fan service. I really don't.
Yeah, and I think that's why they would do it if they did. It'd be fan
Yeah.
service. Yeah.
Mostly just like ornaments. That's what it's been relegated to is ornaments.
Yeah. It's late for you, dude. I'm surprised you're not like crashing.
I have a horrifically awful sleep schedule.
Oof.
I go to bed at like 3 and wake up at 12.
You're on that nocturnal sleep schedule nearly.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Do you have like school or anything like that? Or are you just working?
I do not. I graduated high school somehow, and then I'm just figuring. I'm in the figuring things out
I know exactly what
phase.
that's like. Yeah.
I'm working at like a movie theater. I'm getting paid $9 an hour. Yippee. And Honestly, I do think that I'm just gonna do YouTube stuff for a bit, and I'm just gonna see what happens. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
I do got some stuff cooking. I did put out that unveiling reading. I don't know if you want me to self promo, so I'm not gonna get
no,
into it.
you
But
go
I
for
did
it. You're
do.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that reading of the unveiling, which I've gotten good things from it. It hasn't gotten too much traction though. I think I did an okay job. I got some other stuff in the.
I'm gonna link
I
that
got some
in
other
the
stuff cooking.
chat. Um, yeah, dude. No, like I think trying to figure out things like after school and all that. Yeah, there's a lot of people just like that. Um,
Yeah,
even me, honestly, like I'm just winging it. But
I think you're doing good. You're growing. And honestly, I'm gonna not to toot your horn, but I'm going to predict this now. I think with how much Bife has been shouting you out, I think that once he releases that his unveiling video and he like fully credits you, I bet you around that time, I bet you around that point, your like interactions, like your views and your like subs and stuff, I bet you it's gonna double at least. I bet you.
I don't know. I don't know.
Because he's like, it's safe to say Bife is the biggest lore YouTube channel, right? Like everyone knows who he is, like
Mm-hmm.
at least in the Destiny community.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I think that's gonna do good stuff for you when that happens.
I want to see that cuz like he made that video and then when he first mentioned me, he said that he was going to make a video about the winnower and he hasn't yet and I'm that's the one I'm waiting for. I'm really waiting for that winnower video.
I'm assuming he's just putting a lot of work into it, and it's just a really long video. And there is the whole thing where he has to juggle. I'm assuming right now he's juggling between that and the history of Destiny from start to final
Yeah.
shape, which has to be an editing nightmare, I'm sure.
Yep.
Oh God,
Yep. Oh
it'll be
yeah.
worth it though. I'll watch that. I'll get my chicken sandwich or whatever, and I'll sit down and watch that. Maybe it'll come out. Maybe it'll come out the day before Final Shape releases. Maybe I can watch that instead of the Angry Birds movie. Who knows?
Oh, who knows?
Um.
My dream
uh,
though, my dream is and I'm kind of sad that it never happened like at all. But my dream is like a like a lore creator like roundtable. It just makes sense. I I like even like before I started making videos, I'm surprised that there was never like a podcast with like Bife, Mylan, Evase, anybody else, right? Like just a
uh-huh.
big round table thing where people can share their their thoughts and because the way I look at it is that as much as a lot of these guys are mainly kind of documenters where they will just kind of tell the story. At the same time, all of us are people who care about the story and do want to try and figure things out. And there's no better way to make progress than to hear from other perspectives and potentially like learn something or see something from a way you didn't before. And I think like if you have like
Yeah.
people that are so well versed in the lore coming together, not just for them, but for all of us, it's like, oh dang, you know, that would have been so good.
Yeah. If it like that's true. That's very true. Like for example, if it wasn't for how much of your like, if it wasn't for your content and like me talking to you and stuff, I would probably think that the original Veil, the Destiny 3 Veil, were just gonna be like goofy, scary monsters. But now, like from like the stuff you found, I'm like, oh my god, they were gonna be people. They were gonna be humans, which is, and like arguably that's even crazier in a lot of ways, I'd say, and that adds like a lot of nuance to it. And another thing, I'm pretty sure there was a lore roundtable similar sort of thing. It was back during like the War Mind era, I think.
Right.
It wasn't like a full thing. I think it was just one video. I remember back in the day. I think Bife, Myelin, Beard, Grizzly, I think was his name, and then Dark Side Royalty, like all made one video
Wow.
where they did something like that. I think.
I'm surprised Darkside Royalty was there because he's kind of like, I don't know. He's not really included in things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he used to be. People just really don't like the guy because he's just so blunt, I think.
Yeah, if there's anybody, if I, in my opinion, if there's any creator at all who was like quote unquote blacklisted, it is probably him.
Well, yeah, he's blocked by I'm pretty sure he's blocked by
Yeah.
Destiny Twitter. He has that as like his Twitter banner as you were
Yeah.
blocked by Destiny too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Also, Jay, I know that there's the Unknown Player podcast, but it's like, it's not the same. It's not quite the same. But no, that would be my dream. Like, I don't know where some of these guys are gonna go after the final shape. I don't know, but like, if I stick with Destiny after the final shape, if everybody else sticks with Destiny after the final shape, I would love to try and get like a round table together. Not even like for my sake or the rest of the lore creators' sake, just for the community, because I think I think I know like just for me, I've always been kind of wondering and hoping that we'd get something like that. So yeah, no, I think Joker is very knowledgeable, Felix. I'm not knocking that at all. Um, he just is somebody who goes really against the grain, and like Ultra said, he is very blunt. You know, and I think that obviously is a way to not get the
Yeah,
approval of Bungie.
and he even said something I like recently I didn't even think about where he was like, "Oh, well the 10th anniversary of Destiny was coming up. So it's very likely that maybe Onslaught was originally going to be for that instead of like this other thing and they just bumped
Oh
it up and I was like,
no.
"Huh."
Oh
Yeah, yeah, I was like, "Oh
no.
man."
Well, no, I don't think so because
I don't
how does
know.
that make sense with the pyramids? I guess no, actually no, they could have easily tweaked that. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even realize he was still making Destiny videos. I thought he had moved on to like Final Fantasy or something.
He got his channel got hacked. I'm pretty sure he released a
True.
video about it recently. Like he got hacked by some like obnoxious like crypto scam or something. I don't know. And it's especially frustrating because when you're a smaller YouTuber, when that stuff
Oh
happens to
no,
you, it is
GG.
insanely hard to like
Yeah.
get out of that. Which explains why he was gone for so long. Because he was talking about in his video where he was like he kept submitting like very thorough like report things and like stuff like videos where he like showed his face and stuff where he was like, "Oh, I'm the owner of this channel, it's me," and he had to do it like 3 or 4 times before they gave him like before they remonetized his stuff.
Yeah.
Which oh, that's so ridiculous, man.
Poor guy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's something that really sucks.
Yeah, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It's got to be terrifying having that happen. It's got to be absolutely horrifying. And then especially like, you're afraid like, oh, are they going to like post stuff that's going to get me like my channel deleted, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Like if it's not like a weird scam thing, if it's just someone being malicious, that's something very possible, and that's a
Yeah.
very scary thought, actually.
Speaking of stuff like that, I actually got the first time in a very long time I got like a scam email. And I was like,
Huh?
"Really? Me? I get this?" It was like one of those like emails that like takes advantage of like old people because like only old people like fall for it.
Oh,
And it's like,
yeah.
"Oh, thank you for your purchase of this thing, and you are going to be charged $400. Please call this phone number in the next 24 hours." And I'm like, "Dude, first of all, I've never even heard of this thing. Second of all, I don't have that much money in my bank account, full stop. So I couldn't have made that purchase even if I wanted to. Third
Oh
of
man.
all, the email, like the details, it was in a PDF attached to the email. So it was just some just thing that they just spammed out. It wasn't even like whatever. Fourth of all, it was like an American phone number, and I don't know. It was so obviously fake that it was kind of funny. But yeah, no, I thought
Oh
that was
man.
funny.
I don't know why, because I never interact with them, but I get what I get is like scam texts where they're like, "Oh, you're AT&T, blah 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 blah,"
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
get
like,
that too.
"Leave me alone." Oh my
Yeah,
god,
I get that. It's like,
stop.
oh, your package will be delivered, but you need to pay import tax first. And I'm like, dude,
Ugh.
I didn't. But
I
that's what
bought
people
no
get your
such
phone
thing.
number, they get your email, and then they just you'll have logged in or you'll have an account on a website, and then it'll get hacked, and then your details will just get spread around, and then yeah.
Yeah. Ah, My I did fall for one of those once actually. It was one on
Oof.
Inst There was one going around on Instagram for a while where like it would be like, "Oh, look what it would be someone like usually someone like in your like friends list or something who got hacked so like you would know them."
Oh.
And it would be like, "Oh, look at what I did with your picture, he," and it would like be like, "Warning, extreme gore," or something, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And I click on it, and what this evil thing did, I couldn't even tell because I was in like the app, like on my phone.
Right.
It opens up an external website that's not the real Instagram, and it makes you put in your password. So little idiot, how old was
Oh.
I? I think I started using Instagram around like when Beyond Light came out. Yes, I keep track of time with Destiny expansions. Leave me
Uh-huh.
alone. But yeah, like so I was like 16 or so, and I was like,
Oh, I
oh, I
feel
guess
so
I'll
old.
do this. And then the same thing where like it started like whoever got my thing started sending it to everyone else, and I was like, oh,
Bro, you were
I changed my.
16 when Beyond Light came out?
I think I might have been 17. I don't.
Oh.
I or no, I would have been. There's no way I fell for that when I was 17. Maybe it was earlier on. I don't remember. I know I was seven. No, yeah, because I would have been because it came out in December, so I would have been 17. My birthday's September 15th, so I would have been 17. I was yeah. Because that was my junior year. That was when we were all stuck inside. What a day that was. Woke up and it was like, oh, time for online school. No, I think I'll play Beyond Light instead. I skipped the whole day. I'm sure I got in trouble, but who knows? Who knows, man? Oh, it was worth it.
So we're
Although the
putting
servers were
hackers on
really
the Ascendant tier.
okay. Yeah, fair enough,
Okay.
man.
The architects.
No, there are hackers in Destiny, aren't there?
Oh, do you
Oh
remember? Oh,
man,
okay, this would have been you were still in diapers, I guess, at that point. But I remember in Rise of
in
Iron,
diapers.
in Rise
I
of
was
Iron,
not in
there was like that
diapers. I was
hacker
in
thing.
middle school. Uh-huh.
Your birthday is September 14th. Nice, man. There was
Wow,
like
our
that owl
birthdays are
thing.
so close.
I don't know if you remember the owl sector, I think it was called.
I will say I've heard of that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that was cool.
bro, can
That
you
that
imagine if the architects get revealed in Final Shape as well?
ooh, interesting. Um, Honestly, I would love this would be a great time to do it too. If Bungie put out like an ARG as complex and crazy as like I Love Bees or something like that. Like I've watched
Right.
like documentaries and stuff about I Love Bees. That has to be one of the craziest ARGs ever. Like there were so many things to that where you had to like it got to the point where different people had to go to different payphones at different like at specific times. I think the biggest like known thing from that is someone went out to like a payphone in like Florida or something in like the middle of a hurricane. And so like the person on
Yeah.
the other end who like gives you the code, they had to break character and be like, "Dude, there's a hurricane. You're gonna get a
Yep.
piece of wood's gonna hit you on the head and kill you. Get inside, dude." And
I
it's
think it
like,
was
oh,
Warmind. there was another one, and the
Oh
ARG led
yeah!
to an actual like replica of the was it the Valkyrie or whatever it's called? What was the name of
It
the thing?
was yeah,
Javelin,
yeah, yeah.
javelin,
The
javelin.
Valkyrie, the Javelin. I think it's also called the Valkyrie. Um, yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah, that was cool. That was where we got like our first tease, like to the Exo Stranger, like since Destiny 1. Because it said like, oh, straight like because it hinted it was from Elsie or something, and like, I forget like the message. Also, that it was actually cool. They gave that ARG some really cool lore too that ties back to a lot of like the Bungie like world different connection stuff because what was cool about that one is I think the like story behind it was like, oh, Rasputin's gonna send you a care package, and he accidentally sent it to the wrong timeline. So
Right.
the Guardian didn't get the care package. Us and like the real world got the care package. It's like a cool like fourth
That's
wall
really
break.
cool.
I love stuff like that where it's like, oh, you're real.
They did that
I
as
know.
well with Savathun in the Witch Queen Clark's edition.
Yes, I love that. I think that's something I find really really cool. I know a lot of people really hate that meta stuff, but I grew up with like a lot of like those sorts of indie games that had that kind of stuff, so I have a huge soft spot for it. So I think it's really cool that Savathun's end game plan was to like escape the game, which isn't only like a fun fourth wall break, but it's also like that also has ties to like the Bungie stuff because there's the whole thing with Durandal, like the escape will make me God or whatever.
Yep.
I forget where that comes from. I know you said
Uh,
that. Let me look it up. It's like it's talking about him like escaping like the heat death of the universe. That was like his whole thing, is he knew everything, but he wouldn't be able to like prevent like the heat death of the universe, which would be his own eventual demise, and so he wanted to escape the universe or something. Let's
right, right.
see.
Just stereo 3 in the morning. Let's go. No, for me it's 8 in the morning. So I
For
am.
me, it is one. I'm still rip a roaring though. I'll keep going for however long. We'll see. We'll
No,
see.
you're good. I'm probably gonna need to go soon anyway because I need to get to work on editing a video.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. No, I was not going to. You reminded me about the tier list thing. I was like, oh dang, okay, let's try and do it.
Yeah, I think from now on I gotta message you like a day ahead or something, just because our
Yeah, the
time zone
time
difference
thing.
is so
Yeah, yeah,
big.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The architects are just Luke Smith in a dark server room. Thank you, Vincent. An inside joke me and my friends had when like that I started with like my other friends, that the like when the Destiny 2 servers were like getting really bad like during the crafting stuff. I and it just became an inside joke. I would be like, I mean, I don't know how it's not super bad. I don't know, like, because like Seattle, like they got like a big problem with like homelessness and stuff.
Yeah.
So me and my friends would make a joke, like I would like make a joke like, oh, I get like the servers would go down. I'd be like, oh man, the homeless man snuck in and chewed on the wires again, and the servers went down.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm proud of that one. That's still an inside joke to this day. It's a
Yeah,
good one.
I'm sorry. I would never live in Seattle, man. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, and I would
Any
not
big
want to.
city, to be honest with you. I don't know.
Yeah, especially here, especially in this location, this country.
Yeah. Um.
I'll say this, like a lot of people say like I guess like France, for example, a lot of people say Paris is dirty. I went to like France at one point, and I saw a lot of it because we had a French exchange student, so I actually got to see
Oof.
like Providence and stuff, like the really like pretty parts of France. But like I think we stayed in like the good areas because we had our exchange student with us, and she was like showing us where to go and stuff, so we didn't walk into like any scary like alley or something.
Uh-huh.
But when we were in like we were in like New York like the day because like we had to like go to New York to get the flight to France, so we were in New York for a day. And as much charm as the city has, I do like New York. I like the food culture there and stuff. With but I'd say like to summarize like the experience is when we were in like the Uber was driving us there or whatever. The whole city was caked in like a cloud of smog, like it had an
Ugh.
aura around it. And then I step out of the car when we get there, and the first thing I see is like a puddle of like a mysterious substance on the floor. I was like, "Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's interesting."
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah,
Uh,
not a
that's not ideal. Uh,
yeah.
Vincent,
They
thank you
got
so
good
much for
food
the
there
kind
though.
words, by the way, man. That's really kind. You said, I love your channel, Venextron, especially all of your theory videos on the Winnower. That's really kind, man. Lol, I'm located in Oregon, and I'm pretty convinced the homeless population just chews on Bungie servers.
Oh man.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Seattle's a special place.
um, yeah, no, I'm hoping to go to the States eventually, and that's gonna be interesting. Um,
I see.
yeah, I mean, cause my, so like I'm basically like I'm half American, half Irish. Like I was born here,
Ah,
but
I see.
I was born in Ireland, and but my entire family is American, and I've
Oh,
got yeah,
interesting.
yeah, and I've got two passports, so like I've got dual citizenship, and
That's really interesting.
yeah, yeah, which is actually
Huh.
really advantageous for me because like I can pretty much go anywhere in Europe, and at the same time I can go to the States and I can live there. Um, but on the downside, man, I had to spend I don't know how many years learning Irish, which was
Oh, I've heard that's
absolute.
rough.
It was
Gaelic,
absolutely
right?
terrible. Gaelga. So Gaelic,
Gael.
Gaelic was like the kind of like ancient version of it. Um,
I see.
and I think like there's bits of that in Scotland as well. Like there's I think their languages may be descended from Gaelic. I don't know, but the version that we have is called Gaelga, and that's kind of like the version that was like brought back from the dead in the early 1900s by the okay, now I'm getting into the whole history of it. But anyway, basically Irish was completely dead, and in the early 1900s, kind of like when Ireland was under British rule still, kind of like the early like Irish nationalists kind of like revitalized the culture, and that's what we have. So, it's whatever. Anyway,
I see.
yeah. I
Um,
hate it. They've died.
I've heard that. I've heard that from other Irish people
To
too.
be fair, at least it wasn't Welsh.
Ooh.
Do you know what Welsh looks like?
I do not.
Right.
I will look it up real quick. Let's see here.
Let me
Welsh.
Oh, let me pull this up. Let me pull this up. Wait a minute. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that dude. Can you imagine
Um,
having to learn that? Can you imagine?
a little bit delayed. We'll get
No,
there in
you're
a
good.
second.
You're good. You're good.
I did see a little picture of it on Google Images, and what I saw I was not pleased with. Oh my god.
Oh,
Blanferpon Gwynglugly. Yeah, that's rough. That's very rough.
man. The only place with more L's. I'm gonna be honest, man. That whole language is a big L if you ask me.
Oh man.
Oh,
Oh
even
gosh.
the
Yeah,
lion died
oh.
trying to pronounce it. trying to figure out what is going on.
Weakest, well, sure. That's rad. Oh man.
Um, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, I do plan on eventually, if I can, moving to the States, and that would be way better for like scheduling stuff as well. Because I think most people that watch my stuff are in the American time zone, and it's like really frustrating when my sleep schedule is good and I'm going to sleep at like maybe like 10 or so, but most people are like for example, my sleep schedule is really early. I'm getting up around 4 a.m. now, and I'm going to sleep. Well, I'm going to bed at around 6 or 7, and it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna stream before I go to bed, and most people are like at work or in school, you know. So anyway, that's enough about that. But
Yeah.
it's a shame what the British did to the Irish years ago, attempting to completely
Oh,
snuff out their culture. Yeah, dude. It was
they did.
it did a lot, yeah.
They did that to a lot of people. Oh
They did
man.
they did do it to a lot of people, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like the whole. There's the whole thing like the they conquered the world for spices, but they used none of them.
Yeah. Yeah. It was I don't know. I'm a really big history nerd, so I do find all that stuff very interesting.
Yeah.
There was one guy that used to show up to streams. His name was, I can't remember what the name of it was. It was a T something super heavy tank, and
Hmm.
I really appreciated that because I was a really big World War II tank nerd, and I did history I did it in college as well, but I did it in secondary school. And for my last year, if you did history, you had to do like a history project, and I did mine on a like a German like super heavy tank destroyer. Anyway, I'm just rambling now, but yeah.
Oh man, my school had a. Oh, my school had a. Man, it was rough. In my area, our schools have a thing called like History Day, where you have to write like you have to write a big ass paper and do like. I mean, I guess at the time for a high schooler would have been a big ass paper. Now I could probably like what was it? It was like I think it was like what 8 pages for like a freshman and then like 16 for a senior. That's nothing for me now because I wrote like a 265-page book. Not
Uh-huh.
to flex my anyway, but yeah, like we had to do that and we had to make like a big project. But I, being the clever fellow I am, the limit, the like time limit or whatever, it had to be something like it had to be an event from like at least 20 years ago or whatever. And I was like, "Oh, the 90s." Like in the later in the later like um what would you call it? Like junior senior years. I was like, "Oh, 20 years ago was the 90s." So I was like, "Oh, I'll make my history project about Doom or I'll make it about Harvester if anyone knows what that absolute fever dream of a game is." Oh man.
Are
Oh,
you
my
do you
friend,
like
I think
Doom?
my Doom, I love Doom. Yes.
Yeah, dude, I think it's
I
so good.
absolutely
Especially
love Doom.
I love Doom Eternal, man.
Oh, I love I think Doom Eternal has one of the like best like game flows. Like it flows so well,
I
especially when you get like
know.
really good at it.
Yep.
On man, I think it got robbed of Game of the Year that year, to be honest. I
What
really
did get
do.
it?
I think Last of Us Part 2 got it.
No way did Last of Us Part 2 get Game of the Year. Wait a minute. Game it was 2020, right?
I'm I think yeah, it
Ah,
would
that's
have been.
so
Like
cringe.
I know. Why is my
Bro.
dog barking? It is 1 in the morning.
So, do you know what I
Who
will say?
knows?
I
Hmm.
watched so I absolutely despised the game, right? And I watched a I think it was like. Wait, let me make sure I'm not speaking falsehoods here. I watched a. Yeah, okay, I wasn't actually exaggerating. I watched a 5 hour long narrative review of The Last of Us Part 2. And the guy
Oh
fully
man.
goes into it and explains everything. I understand the deeper story now of The Last of Us Part 2. I still don't like it.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's in really poor
That's
taste
a good way of putting it,
to
yeah.
establish like a whole narrative in one thing, and then you make a second game, and then you kill off half of that narrative at the beginning of the game. Oof.
Yeah.
That's like
And then
that's
then you have
like
to
if
play the character who does that.
yeah, that's like if I guess a good example, that's like if in Halo 2 Master Chief gets killed by Arbiter in the first
Yeah, and then
mission,
you have to
and
play
then
Arbiter
Arbiter
for the
like
rest of the game.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
Arbiter has Cortana for some reason.
No.
Oh, that's like the Halo show. Oh my god. Did you watch that at all?
I try to forget that it exists.
That fair enough, man. Fair enough.
Yeah, I know.
I watched it with my parents so I could have an excuse to nerd out about Halo to my parents. But there was a lot of points where I was just really mad about something and they didn't get it because they
Yeah.
haven't played the games.
That's the wider audience that these companies are trying to reach right there.
Yeah, yesterday with the Fallout TV show.
And then there's
I
the
actually,
the
I
Acolyte
actually
as well.
really like the Fallout. I'm not. I'm do not have very high
No,
expectations for the Acolyte. I'm gonna be honest.
I was already really not excited for it, and then I saw an article where the director, Leslie Headland, said that she intentionally hired writers and like staff and actors or whatever who did not watch any of the Star Wars movies so that she could like guess like implement her vision a lot easier without there being any real pushback because they would have had no idea like what was like good like what was actually like I don't know respecting the franchise and what wasn't oh and
Yeah.
she said if you didn't like the Last Jedi then you won't like this. Okay, I'm good.
If I didn't like a bad movie, I won't like your bad show. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Ugh.
Um. Oh, bad. And then there's the whole. I would like. I was already like, when I kind of heard it was High Republic because Kathleen Kennedy has full creative control over the High Republic era.
Right.
And then I saw the whole stuff where they like started really talking about it, and then the director was like, "Oh, it's like Frozen meets Kill Bill."
Yeah,
What are
no,
you
I'm good.
talking about? What does that mean?
I'm good. I'm
Oh
good.
my god. Yeah, no, I'll try and watch it with like my folks or whatever. I'm probably not gonna have a pleasant time with it though.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's just it's frustrating. Um, I
You know,
think yeah, keep going.
it's even crazier to me that like George Lucas already had he had the future of Star Wars planned already. He had written his own
He
sequel
gave them the
trilogy.
scripts and everything.
Yeah, and then they were like, let's do something different. Let's do something completely
Let's subvert their
different.
expectations.
Yeah, oh my god. And honestly, I don't even think The Force Awakens was that bad.
No,
I
I
think they
liked it.
could have yeah, I think they could have gone in a good direction. I really do think that the reason it just ended up the way it did is because what's his name? What was the director for Last
Ryan
Jedi?
Johnson.
Is Ryan Johnson just like threw them off so bad, like because he just has that like obsession with like subverting your expectations, and it like so like it just has this whole like anti-narrative where it's just made the whole time you're going, oh, this character wouldn't do that, or oh, that doesn't make sense.
Oof.
And then when people come and then this is the thing that makes me even like more angry about it is people were like, dude, what are you doing? And then on Twitter he was like, well, you don't get it because you're not cool enough or whatever. He got like a bunch of T-shirts that says like your Snoke theory sucks or whatever. And it's like, come on, dude.
Finn
It's
should. Oh,
ridiculous.
also, Felix, you didn't like the Fallout show. To me, the Fallout show, I listen, I'm not a massive Fallout fan. I did enjoy the show. It didn't do anything to offend me. Let's just put it like that. Like maybe I'm not well versed enough. Maybe if you're like really big into Fallout, you were able to spot things that I couldn't. I actually didn't think it was that bad. Um I'm not gonna spoil anything about it, but like I thought it was actually fine. And then Jaden says Finn should have been the main Jedi of the sequels. Oh yeah, 100%. And then even if it was Rey, the way that I think they should have done it is it should have started off Rey Jedi, Kylo Sith, and then by the end of it they've actually swapped places where Kylo's redeemed and Rey falls to the dark side. I would have
Mm.
found that to be really interesting. Hey Cosmic, how you doing, man? It's been a little while since I caught you live. Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, man, I'm doing good. Hope you're doing good too. Bro has not played New Vegas. No, I haven't. No.
Oh, you should actually. New Vegas is
Fallout 4 is
peak.
the only game that I've played, and I haven't even played much of it.
On people, a lot of people like a lot of older Fallout fans really dog on Fallout 4. I am a New Vegas fanboy in like every sense of the word. I love New Vegas. I still think Fallout 4 is not that bad.
It's not
Like
76.
there's stuff that's kind of in it, but like I don't think it's outright terrible.
Yeah.
It definitely has like the best quality of life stuff, I'd say.
What did
Like
you
it
think of
definitely
Starfield then? If you're like into like
I
Bethesda games.
played I played like 15 minutes of Starfield. No,
Fifteen
I
too
don't know.
many.
Like I'm sure it's probably fine, but I I don't know, this for some people this will probably make sense, for some people it won't. Because I feel like they get so creative with like their other games. I feel like in a lot of ways Starfield was kind of too grounded in realism for me personally. That's a very personal thing, if that makes any sense. Where it's like, oh, it's in space, but there's no aliens, and like you don't get like cool armor. You're in like a spacesuit pretty much. So I was just kind of like, eh.
I think it's just bad
Like
game
it,
design. I think honestly, like the whole argument of oh well, you know, you're on a planet and there's nothing and you're bored. Well, that's the way it would be in real life. I think that's bad game design because games are
yeah,
meant to be
no.
fun, man. I played through it. I did it. So actually, I didn't buy Starfield. I bought what was it? I think I like I can't remember if I think I got like a month of Game Pass, and then
That's
I
how
just
I played it. Is I
I
have
played
Game
that,
Pass.
and then I was so like first yeah I literally just had to mod the crap out of it to make it playable for me. So like by the end, um, I made it so that the guns I wanted had like infinite ammo pretty much because I had like 20 guns on me, and then because there was like 20 different types of ammo I would have like one or two shots per gun, and I'd be constantly having to go through my list. Okay, what gun can I use now? Which one did I pick up ammo for? It was terrible. So I had to mod that,
Ooh.
and then the jetpack, I gave myself infinite jetpack, and then I could like just zoom around the place. And like the
That kind
amount
of
of
sounds
like
fun.
walking around you'd have to do, bro, I would not be able to finish it, man. Like it was terrible. It was so bad. Anyway, but yeah, I finished it, and then I actually liked the ending. That was kind of cool. I don't know if you know what the ending was, but
I do not. I don't care. I don't care if you spoil it for me personally. I'm probably never gonna play it.
yeah, they get kind of meta with it, where it's like New Game Plus is like nah, I'm not gonna spoil it. I don't want to be. I don't. I feel like most people here wouldn't care, but I don't want to be that guy who just kind of. Anyway, it's a very interesting take on New Game Plus. Let's put it like that.
Huh.
Um,
Interesting.
but yeah, started Fallout 4 as a newcomer and enjoyer of it. Ended up being tired and hating it, and it took me like 3 years to beat it. Yeah, fair. Finally got around to reading all of the collector's edition lore. It gave me hope that there are still good people in the narrative team at Bungie. Yeah, I don't know who wrote it. I don't know if it was a member of the team or like a I don't know. I don't know. And I checked. I tried to see like can we get credits. I actually think that it's kind of not good. I feel like even though it's supposed to be like immersive, like oh this is actually like a physical journal from a character in the world, I do think people should be credited for writing that. Um, but
That's true, actually. Yeah.
yeah, um, like in my opinion,
Mm.
in my opinion, and this is probably a popular opinion, but I think if there is a bad story, I think the people responsible for it, we should know who they are. And I think if there's a good story, we should know who they are, right? Like,
Fair enough. Yeah.
again, I only know that Seth Dickinson is responsible for all these books. I actually cut this out of the video. Um, I was gonna say because basically, like, I only know that Seth Dickinson was responsible for all those lore books and stuff like that because he's openly said it, like on Reddit and other places, right? Like he's said, like, yeah, I'm the guy that wrote this. You wouldn't know otherwise. Um, for example, who came up with Nimbus? We're never gonna know.
Oh,
Uh, who
oh
came up
man.
with? I don't know. Who came up with? I mean, to be honest, like, yeah, who decided to put Nezarec in Lightfall the way that they did? We will never know. So I think there should be like complete open accountability. Now I understand why you wouldn't want to do that because people would be like, attacking them and it'd be and I get that, but like I think it makes like what I'm trying to say is moments like that collector's edition lore makes me wish I knew who it was so that I could appreciate them. If that makes sense.
Ah, yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Have they given a reason? No, I think the main reason is just that like the collector's edition lore is like, an immersive, oh, this is an actual journal from Ida or whatever. So who came up with Lysander only to abandon him for night? I don't know,
Oh,
Felix.
interesting question, actually. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Oh, dude, I think
Do you think they had plans for that
I
character?
don't
Like, genuinely?
know. I
I think it's
don't.
really hard to say.
If they did, I mean, he was never mentioned, but it would be really interesting if he was going to be part of the OGD3 with all the factions.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, because there were going to be more, huh?
yeah,
What,
yeah.
what, what was it they revealed? It was like, it
So
was the original
you had the
three.
original three. The Nine had a faction. The Veil had a faction. Callus had a faction. Yeah,
Callus had a faction. That's kind
yeah.
of cool. It's very
It was a
interesting the
shadow faction.
Veil had a faction. I will say I think 99% of the stuff they talk about in that D3 leak is cool. I'd say the one thing I don't like the idea of is like that
Well, I
PvPvE
think
like
that
division.
became Marathon,
Yeah, that's very
and because
possible.
we actually either we know or it's this is just what I've heard. Okay, I've heard that Marathon basically when they scrapped D3, they kept the engine that they had made for it and they used that for Marathon, which makes sense.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. Yeah.
And that also would explain why they would be making D3 at all, because they would probably just use that engine, right?
Mm-hmm. But the reason I say that though is because I'm just thinking of the way Destiny Sandbox is. If we got
Oh, it's
like
so different.
that thing where when you run into like an area and there's like like territory fight or whatever, the people would find some way to just hide up in a tree and just snipe
Do the
people and
Fortnite
just
like
camp
bush
you.
hiding?
Yeah, it would suck so bad. And there'd be quests for it like, oh, get 200 kills uh in water fight or whatever with a hand cannon or whatever. And then you run in there and you're trying to get your hand cannon kills and you're like running around, you see no one around, you finally see an enemy guy and you're like, hey! You run over to him to get your kill, boom, sniped in the head by someone in a bush you couldn't see. Oh my god, that would suck. I just think with Destiny Sand, I honestly I really don't think Destiny was
Patience
made
and
for
time would be
PvP.
so rough, dude.
Oh god, that's true.
In a bush with patience and time.
Oh my god.
By the
Oh
way, Sky, thank you
jeez.
so much, man, for the kind words. Um, it's not that I like understand unveiling like better than anybody else. It's just that I actually, do you mind if I go to the bathroom real quick? I have been bursting at
Uh,
the seams.
yeah, go ahead,
I'll be
man.
right back. You can hold the fort down.
Okay. I know Cosmic said, didn't Myelin work with the narrative team at one point? Which, yes, he did. He, um, he helped put together the Grimoire anthologies. He just didn't want to be credited in the book itself, I believe. So he has himself credited as a fellow Guardian because he didn't want to be like, oh, shout out for me or whatever. I know that. Um, checked out voices on the portal for Onslaught. Um, finally a lore YouTuber who did not who understands unveiling. I think people just didn't know. I think it's just because that side of the story was just went untouched for so long that people just didn't know. They were like, oh, and I think that with the witnesses reveal, people just sort of assumed, oh, that guy is Mr. Evil Darkness, so we're just gonna, and they just decided to move on from this other thing. I think people didn't really realize that it's kind of, I feel like for most of Destiny, it's just been this story behind the scenes that's kind of been happening. That's how like a lot of it is it's stuff you just kind of have to really look in between the lines to find. Um, hello, Jaden.
I'm back. Sorry.
All
I'm
right,
sorry. It was
and
status calamitous, honestly.
I gotcha. We
Yeah.
we're all human. What were we talking about?
No,
I don't remember.
Sky said finally a lore tuber who understands unveiling. It's not that like I understand it better than anyone else. I actually I'm actually I recorded a like a member video yesterday, and I was going over like why we got to the point that we're at now where um people are so like vitriolic about the lore. And when it comes to unveiling, right? You have two different sides of people. You have the one side who has it's like, okay, think of it like a card game. You have two different people and they each have like a hand of cards or whatever. The one person has like 10 cards, but they're all like really low quality cards. The other person has one card, but it's worth those 10 cards. So let me explain it. The people who like are like, oh, unveiling is just a metaphor. The witness wrote unveiling. Asa said that the people made the witness to be the winner. They have like a lot of these things that they can point to, but the evidence is very, very low quality, and in my opinion, pretty easily countered. And it just doesn't. It's very, very weak foundation in my opinion. It doesn't really work, but at least it's something. The people who take unveiling and they say, oh, the Winnower is a different character and the gardener is real and there was an OG garden and this, that, and the other. The people who I've seen arguing for that, for the most part, um, now like listen, for example, like people like Archival Mind, my friend Mars here. These are people that were always able to back up their arguments. But I'm talking about like people on Reddit and stuff like that when I see arguments happening. For the most part,
Redditors.
people who were advocating for unveiling, they were basing it off of faith. That's really what it came down to. They didn't like, they can't point to any other lore where a character called the Winnower is speaking. They can't show like an OG garden because like there's the Black Garden, but it was like it's kind of up in the air what the story is with that. Like it was all based off of faith and interpretation. So even though the other crowd, their evidence, in my opinion, is very weak, at least they have something. I think, in my opinion, the best thing about the video that I made, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, what it did was that it kind of leveled the playing field where, yeah, there's faith at the end of the day, but now I'm adding in lore. Now I'm adding in concept art. Now I'm adding in quotes from the guy who wrote the stuff. And so now I'm adding more cards to the hands of the people that do advocate for unveiling. So it's not necessarily that I understand it better than anyone else, but it's that the way that I do understand it is a way that is seen as wrong because there's not quote unquote evidence for it. But there actually is, and that's what I managed to find. And it wasn't just me. I had help, and it was like a joint effort. Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, it wasn't even what is the correct understanding of unveiling, because I would not be surprised if, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to retcon it, or if they were planning on it and they were in the process of it, and then they ended up walking it back after Lightfall. That may have happened. I don't know. When I talk about my interpretation of unveiling, I'm talking about what I believe was the intended interpretation of unveiling. And I actually think in Spiral, I think was it in Spiral or a different thing, where it has that line about just because the flower can't comprehend like the
That was
garden.
in Spiral.
That was, yeah. That was Seth Dickinson
Yeah.
as well, the same guy who wrote Unveiling. And I think it was honestly kind of a poke at the people who were like, well, we can't imagine there being like an actual garden before time or whatever. So it's like, well, just because you don't understand, just because you can't see, or like, it's what you're saying, there's these god-like beings that created the universe. There's no evidence for that. That's crazy. And it's like, well, just because you can't, comprehend that doesn't mean it didn't happen. And no, I don't know. That's just my take on it. I don't think, and for the record, Bife watched that video, and he agreed with a lot of it. And he even said, even if nothing comes of it, he is pretty confident in saying that that is probably what the original plan and intention was. So, not to put words in Bife's mouth, I'm just saying what his comment was, and that's that. And then I haven't really been watching the videos, but I know Vase has made videos about the winnower and stuff like that, and it's really becoming more and more of a mainstream opinion. And yeah, anyway, I just don't want to act like I'm the only guy that was whatever. Didn't Mylan work with the narrative team at one point? He did.
Yeah, he worked on the grimoire, so he helped them put it together.
Yeah, and there's actually drama with that. He made a video about that as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Have I checked out the voices on the portal for Onslaught when we were inside the ship? Wait, have you checked out the voices on the portal for Onslaught? Can you explain more of that, please? People think unveiling is... Oh, no, a lot of people do. Even Destinypedia. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. If you go, I remember someone sent that like a screenshot in the Discord a while back, where on Destinypedia, they didn't call it unveiling, they called it like, oh, the witness's parable or whatever.
Yeah. A lot of people believe that. So this is the very... I'm not saying, because like there are a few different variations of this. A very common thing that I see said, and what annoys me is not that this is what people believe. What annoys me is that people act as if this is the mainstream fact. It's that the pyramid race were given a golden age, and then they wanted a winnower, so they made the witness. They became the witness, and that means that the witness is the winnower. And basically, the witness wrote unveiling to us, but the witness acts differently as the winnower, because the winnower is what the witness wants to be like, but isn't. And that is basically it.
Yeah.
Which is actually so convoluted and messy.
I think a lot of it is just nuance. Like, you just... a lot of the stuff with the Winnower, you just have to kind of look in. You have to
But it
really look
isn't.
in between the lines.
But it
Oh
isn't.
yeah, I
Because
guess.
nuance
I don't know.
nuance means that it's kind of complicated. The two characters speak completely differently. Here's the thing. I
Yeah,
am
you're right.
somebody I've seen a lot of theories in my days. I've made a lot of theories in my days. What I've kind of come to realize is the more hoops you have to jump through to understand something, the less likely it is that it's true. And you want to know what the easiest thing to do is? Say, okay, unveiling was sent to us by the winnower. There actually was a garden. Everything that he said, like even if it isn't necessarily true, he's being honest about it, and the witness and the winnower are two different characters. That's the easiest point blank literal interpretation. There's no real, and I say, well, why do you believe that? Well, because they talk differently, and also there are other instances of a character called the Deep who has a different personality and who speaks differently existing in the lore. And it's just the most simple.
Yeah.
Because then if you're like, oh, well, it was actually the witness, but the witness decided to be a different person and decided to be. Now you're adding on hoops. Now you're making it more complicated. And that's something that I see people do with their theories. It's something what I try to avoid when I do my own theories. And no, like it's the literal interpretation of unveiling is the one that says that it's the winnower. It's the one that's nuanced is when you're saying, oh, well, it was actually a parable by the witness who was pretending to be another character because the race became the witness to be like this other character that doesn't exist. And then you're just, I'm confused. It's,
I know what you mean. I think what I meant is more so nuance is probably the wrong word. I think more so what I meant is I think a lot of people in the Destiny community take things at like purely like I don't want to say face value necessarily, but I think that they're like they have the tendency to not like to speculate. Like they don't like to theorize like a lot of other communities like to do. I notice like a lot of other so like a lot of people they're just kind of like, oh, I guess the Winnower is the bad guy now, so I
yeah,
assume that this
yeah.
other dude isn't. Yeah.
And I think I figured it out why this happened. So what you had happen, right, was at the end of Shadowkeep, you had a villain introduced. You take unveiling out of it. You have the main cutscene with the dude has the hand a certain way, whatever. We are your salvation. Then you have Beyond Light, and Beyond Light itself doesn't move the pyramid story at all, really. But then
Yeah.
you have like Presage and stuff like that, and you have the also a buildup of a character called the Voice in the Darkness, right? And
Mm-hmm.
when you finally get to Witch Queen and the witness is revealed, the collective realization is like, oh guys, uh, the this is the villain that's been built up all this time. This has to be it. And so then it's like, well, you're telling me that you have this character being built up, and yet you're saying there's another character in the background who we haven't heard anything else about, really? And and this is why I made a video. I made a video as soon as the witness came out. I said it was called "Do Not Be Deceived," and I said this is the exact same thing as when they introduced the pyramids and it said the pyramids were the darkness before then pulling a gotcha and being like, oh guys, they're actually called the Black Fleet. Because when they first introduced the witness for a brief period of time, they acted as if this was like the actual darkness. And it wasn't until a bit later when it was like, well, actually, what was the lore that kind of. I mean, even different lines. And I said this. I said, listen, guys, Savathun says that the witness is not the darkness, but wears it like a cloak. And then it gives it a wicked shape. And, but for everybody else, not everybody, but like a lot of people, they see this character and they're like, okay, this is what Bungie's focusing on. If there ever was a winnower, they have now retconned that and they're sticking with the witness. And that's kind of, I think, the position where it's like, this is what Bungie's been pushing mainstream. if you are saying they're doing something else on the side or there's a different character, that is purely like either you coping or misinterpreting the lore. And I think what really also put more fuel to the fire was Robert Brooks's quote about unveiling, saying that it's a religious parable. Um, and yet, what people are kind of now, I think it's funny. I literally saw somebody quote that. They didn't actually like quote it, but they used that line, and so I knew that that's what they were like getting it from. People like to use his quote as proof of unveiling not being a thing. What I see these people interestingly leaving out is the second half of the quote, which says that as we get closer to the final shape and with the final shape, we will get more information on unveiling itself. And so far, the big thing we've gotten coming up to the final shape is the collector's edition lore, which straight up has Ido say, the witness doesn't seem to be like the winnower from unveiling at all. And yeah, no, I think that's kind of what it's come down to. And I think what's also happened is that the reason why people are so vitriolic about it, because it's not just like, oh, I disagree with you, but that's okay. Now it's like, oh, you're stupid. You're an idiot. You misinterpreted the lore. You're crazy,
Oh,
you know? And
yeah, it's like that
yep,
superiority complex almost.
it's a superiority complex. And I think it's a defense mechanism because I think that people have had their theories for so long that I think people, whether they realize it or not, I think people attribute their belief that they are right about a theory with how well they know Destiny and how much of a fan they are of Destiny. And I think that when somebody has a different thing that challenges that, I think they will feel kind of like they kind of like lash out as a response. And let me just put it like this. The type of behavior that I've seen from people in the lore community bashing others who disagree with them on different topics. I think that if the final shape comes out and they are proven wrong about unveiling, I think that there's going to be a meltdown.
Oh God.
And
Probably, yeah.
I'm not trying to like joke about that. I think people will act because, and this was the analogy that I gave. Or I'm just not going to release a video now because I'm talking about it here. This was the analogy that I gave. You and your friend have a test coming up. You have one way of approaching the questions. He has another way of approaching the questions. You are constantly telling him, dude, don't do it like this. You're gonna fail. And he's still like, no, I want to do it like this, man. I disagree. Like, I think this is fine. And then eventually, like, dude, you're gonna fail, and then I'm gonna tell you so. And you're constant. And like, dude, you know what? If you do this, you deserve to fail because I've been trying to tell you. I don't know how you can't see it. Like, this is stupid. Anyway, you both take the test. He gets a 90%. You get a 30. Not only are you sad with the result, but now you are embarrassed because there's a good chance that that guy is going to go in on you for being a jerk to him, right? So can you imagine all these people in the Destiny community who are like, oh, you're delusional, you're an idiot, da, 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 and then they're proven wrong? Bro, I think it's like, it'd be so, oof. And yeah, I think that's why we're at that position. And like, now I'm at the point, I've been tempted to get in and like, not debate people, but like, I mean, I guess it's kind of debating people, but I'm at the point now where there is no changing people's minds. I think people are locked in. And I made that lore video, the really big one, as my argument. So if somebody wants to argue with me about unveiling, my video is the argument. It's like Oryx with his dreadnought. He doesn't argue how strong he is. His blast from the ship is him exerting his will onto the universe.
Yeah.
That is my blast. Effectively. Anyway, I went on a whole thing about. What do you think anyway about the whole community sentiment around like disagreements and
I don't know. I think I feel like my view of it is a kind of interesting. I feel like to a certain extent there's one half of the community who they just kind of I don't know what the nice way to say it would be. They kind of
Politically
just
correct.
like they eat up whatever Bungie puts on their plate. Like,
That
because
was
I've
not
been hearing a
politically
lot of like,
correct, but okay, keep going.
was it not?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it's about a game. I don't think it's a too big of a
Yeah, yeah,
deal to
yeah,
say
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I know, I
But
know.
like, um, but yeah, like, and I think a good example of that was like, I guess the one I've been given a lot lately, where I can see the point is Season of the Splicer. Even I like Season of the Splicer was one of my favorite seasons. I thought that like as a narrative on its own, it was quite good. But then there were like I did hear people. I think Archival might have been one of them.
Yeah,
I don't want to
he
misquote people
really
on
hates it.
accident. Yeah, where he kind of like he kind of went in. He was like, "Ooh, well, it doesn't like it's kind of break stuff for these reasons." And I'm like, "Oh, that kind of makes sense actually." Like it kind of does
Yeah,
seem like they were gonna do something completely different with like Quaria and stuff. Um, and I think that like when people come out and they kind of say other stuff where they're like, oh well, I think that this other thing was kind of intended to happen, people will be like, oh, cope, you're coping. I think that that's where that comes from.
fair, yeah.
Is it's people who kind of like to think that, like I think a lot of people have the sentiment that the way people like to pretend that the way the game has been playing out is just how it's been completely intended the whole
Yes.
time,
Yeah, 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 yeah. For
which
sure.
is I think the ultimate I think the ultimate correlation of that is a quote I saw. I'm not gonna say who from, but it is from like another content creator who I am not fond of. I think the quote I got the quote in my head because it boiled my blood so much. I think the quote was someone in like one of his comment sections or whatever was talking about like something getting retconned, and he responded to them, there are no retcons in Destiny. Destiny is an ever-changing universe. And I think the example he gave is he compared people who talk about retcons to flat earthers pretty much. He was like,
Yikes.
"Oh, just because the Earth, we used to think the Earth was flat and we proved it's round doesn't mean that it got retconned into being round and it was originally flat," which makes zero sense
No, but it's
because
also very rude.
yes. Yeah. The dude, I'm still not going to name drop him, but that guy is a huge jerk a lot of the time. Like
Like
it's ugh.
I've had like the funny thing is that like I've put my stuff out there and I have been like it was funny, man. I put my unveiling video out there and then I ended up finding
Mhm.
it on Reddit and people were bashing me for the unveiling video. People were like going in on me. And then, again, not to toot my own horn, I find it funny because they act as if it's like mainstream knowledge how wrong I am because it's like so obvious, whatever. And then Bife comes out and he's like, "Bro, this is a triumph." um, but I have stuff like that happen, and then at the same time, I have people come to me and they have theories, and I'm like, I'm sorry, there's no way that's but I'm polite about it. Like, I think the funniest one I ever got. All right, I hope this person isn't in the chat. If they are, dude, I love you. I've got nothing against you. It's all fun and games, whatever. I remember I had somebody say either in a comment or in the chat, and they were serious. Like they said, "We are Nezarec,"
What?
and so now it's kind of like a. I love it, man. It's
I want to know where he got that from.
but but like no, like just because like you really disagree with it or you can tell that it's just completely wrong. At the end of the day, man, it's a video game, and here's the thing: people, and this actually really matters to me because like I had to really deal with it as well. There are people, and I think most people, they when they post a theory or they ask a question or whatever, it's just because they're really excited and they really love the world, they love the game, and they just want to share it. And honestly, when I first made my videos, that's exactly the way that I was. I would make the video, I'd post on raid secrets, and I'd put it on the forums, and I was just excited. I just wanted to share, like, hey guys, what do you think? Look what I found. Look what do you think? And like And then the more that I would get battered down and people would say things and whatever, the more that I'd be like, okay, well, I'm just not going to say anything now. I'm not going to share it. And then for me personally, like, it got to the point where it's like, well, if I'm going to say something, it has to be so airtight as an argument that it can't get picked apart, because then otherwise it's going to be whatever. And the problem is that for people, if you have a community that does this, you're going to have less and less people that are excited and that want to share things because they're going to be scared. And so, like, when I get people and they share theories or ideas with me, and like I completely disagree with them, or at the same time, like, it's like really like, oh, what if Teox is the gardener, stuff like that. No, you just treat them like just a friend, and
Yeah,
because, dude, like, they deserve to be excited about the game and to enjoy it.
I feel
And
like
yeah.
I feel like we're thinking of the same guy because I was thinking of that too. The
Oh,
oh my god.
what,
The
the We
the
Are
Teox
Nezarec?
is the no, not the Nezarec thing. There was a it might even be the same guy you're talking about on like the Destiny forums, like the ones in like the companion app and stuff.
Oh, I did
There
see
was like this
one
one,
guy.
yeah, there was this one dude who was absolutely adamant
Yes.
that Teox is the gardener.
Yes.
I feel like we're thinking of the
Wait,
same
you read the
guy.
forums as well?
I used to for like I still kind of look at them here and there very
I
rarely,
feel
but I
like I'm
did
the
used
only
to sift
person.
through there. I don't know. It's just there's like a select few like characters. The only people of note I really remember is like there was like that gentleman. There's like this gal on there who likes to pretend that Varix is like her boyfriend or something.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me.
um there's I think other than that, other than those people, I think there's just a couple people who just
Yeah.
go around being dicks on
The
purpose.
forums have gone downhill, in all fairness. It's just like half of it is clan recruiting and then people not being happy with the game. um
Yeah, that's like well, that's what most of it is just
yeah.
oh this game is stupid.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, I
oh
remember when I made my Eldritch Theory videos back in the day, I would post, especially I think for the pyramid one, I posted the script on the forums, and then Archival Mind used to post on the forums, and so we got into like a debate about it. And it was completely civil, and it was completely like it was great. But yeah, no, I just think that not only is being like attacking people for sharing theories. I remember, dude, it made me so mad. It made me so mad. I was streaming, or no, I had made a video, I think, and somebody made a comment saying that somebody had watched my video and they had posted talking base about my talking points about whatever the theory was, and they were attacked. And the person said that they were attacked, and rightfully so. And it made me so mad because it's like, dude, like, that person doesn't deserve that. Like, that is just not right. And no, like, and because the thing is, like, because I've been through that myself, and so it's like, well, I'm kind of used to it. Not, I'm not really used to it. I don't think you really do get used to it, but it's like I'm kind of prepared that this is something that might happen. But like, there are so many people like, well, I'm gonna share something on Reddit for the first time because whatever, and then they're just not ready for. And yeah, I don't know. As for like content creators and stuff like that, again, I think that if you're a content creator and you do end up like arguing with people, most content creators don't engage in those kinds of discussions. But I think
yeah.
if you are somebody who does, and actually this isn't for content creators, this is for anybody. Um, if you ever are arguing a point with somebody, if the moment that you so there's a term, it's called an ad hominem, and it basically
Yeah.
means that it's like, oh, you think that chicken is better than bacon? Well, that's because you are stupid, right? You are
Yeah.
trying to prove that you are right by putting the other person down, or by saying that the other, as
Hmm.
soon as you do that, you immediately like lose like 50% of your credibility, and that person that you're arguing with is not going to take you seriously. They're going to just mentally check out. And yeah, so
Yeah.
for anybody, and then if you're a content creator, if you get into like a debate about stuff like that, the second that you attack somebody, and when I say attack, I don't mean like viciously whatever, but just the second that you act as if you are, that the other person is lesser, you're not gonna get anywhere with them. But anyway, that's
Yeah.
just that.
I even I even kind of came to that because that same gentleman who made the oh, there are no retcons in Destiny
Yeah,
thing. He made a video on his channel like, oh, who's the strongest guardian? And the majority of the video, it was like 19 minutes long, but 15 minutes of those 19 minutes was basically just him ranting about like, cause like this dude, I think this is probably the thing he's most infamous for, where he gets really really adamant about like, oh, the player like the guardian is um he's the weakest or whatever, or not the weakest, but like, oh, he's like weak or whatever,
I
something like
haven't
that.
seen the video, but I let me
You know,
let me just I'm gonna butt in here and I'm gonna say this. So when I no, it's not the same. Right? I'm not saying it's the same. But
uh-huh.
when my unveiling lore video on Reddit, so I think it's kind of obvious now to me who you're talking about. So I do know who you're talking about.
Oh boy.
When I found my video on Reddit and it was getting bashed, he chimed in as well, but he didn't attack me. Okay, and and he didn't say anything negative about me specifically. So I really respected that. I definitely agree with you that it's not right to say certain things in comments about people, but honestly, man, I think I'd prefer if we kind of move on from the topic, because I just don't. It doesn't really feel good talking about the another person.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
That
no,
was that
I
was the
don't.
point. That was the point I was getting to. Is I showed it to my friends and stuff, and they were like, "Oh, you should make a video about this guy."
Yeah, yeah,
And I
no,
almost did, but I just kind of decided, oh,
no,
well, I don't want to make like I don't want to, because the thing I kind of realized, especially if that was like one of the first videos I made, I would kind of be setting up my channel
mhm.
to almost be like focused around
Yeah,
negativity, which
no.
I do not want.
Drama is never clean, and at the same time, even if there are people who choose to act in a certain way, it's always a choice to act like that as well. So, I mean, yeah, I'd just say we just move on from that.
Yeah, we can leave it at that. That's
Yeah.
all I wanted to say. Is I just negativity bad, positivity good.
Um. So I'm gonna go back to the chat. What are the lore implications of Rolk dashing himself off the map? Well, you see Portal. It's actually, if you're still here, that's actually a really complex and deeper, um, I guess, link towards Rolk as a character and his interpretation of the final shape. You see, Rolk says that the final abyss awaits us all. And so it's kind of assumed that his interpretation of the final shape, of the witness's final shape, is similar to the sword logic, where everything will eventually die. And he even says that his gift to us is death, the darkness beyond our final days. So I personally would interpret, and I think this is very clearly the correct interpretation, when Rolk dashes himself off of the map, it's very clearly him professing his logic and putting his actions where his words are, and embracing his final shape, and literally diving into the abyss, the darkness beyond his final days. Yeah. Okay, anyway, I just went on a whole, yeah, anyway.
I dropped a banana peel in the arena and he slipped on it.
Yeah. Um the people who think the witness wrote unveiling have the Nimbus card. Well, there's a lot of them, dude, and um they're very much locked into that belief. Yep, Inspiral was a poke, I think so. So on the ship phase where you slam the spark in the rift, if you don't go through the portal and you send and listen, Really, I'll have to check that. I did not know about that, Cosmic. Hey dudes. Hey Senior. What if in the final shape both the Gardener and Winnower empower us to stop the Witness from defying both their philosophies? That would be very interesting. I can definitely see that
That's
happening from the Gardener.
something I think might happen.
Yeah. The best case for the Winnower outside of the unveiling outside of unveiling is when you talk to Oryx. Yes, completely different from the Witnesses. Yes, exactly, 100%. In Season of the Lost, Mara spoke about the voice in the darkness, and now they're trying to pretend that was the Witness. And that's actually something as well, Cosmic. Like, for example, Presage is very sus, and I might make a video someday about Presage and how I feel like the original, I don't know. There's a bit, the whole voice in the darkness thing, Presage, Witness and Winnower, there's a bit more going on with that. Time for me to unleash my ultimate form. I am the last lore god and final boss of Destiny. I am vexed. True. And then Tanax appeared out of nowhere. Drop the name, nah. Venextron's channel lore iceberg video win. I don't know. I do want to do it. And I did make a version of it, but I wasn't happy with it. It's really hard, man, because a lot of my videos are connected. It's my videos aren't necessarily like tiered in terms of quality or how deep they go. They're basically, it's like a path, you know? I've had a lot of comments from people who are like, oh dude, I found your channel and now I'm binging it. It's because like a lot of the videos are connected to each other. It's like, as George Lucas would say, it's like poetry, it rhymes, you know? Like you kind of, and it's also because it's if you go through my channel, it's also a bit of a documentation of me discovering things. So like I make the first initial discovery about a topic, and in the next video that's connected to that might be like when I actually have found more about it. And so it's kind of like there's like steps to it. And then honestly, like unveiling that video was a collection of all the things that I'd found. Like if you watch my Gardener video, you watch my Winnower video, and other videos here and there, they are things that I've mentioned before in the unveiling, you know, and the things that I've mentioned in the unveiling video are things that I've mentioned before. So it's kind of hard to do like an iceberg of that. I guess if we're going like my theories or topics, there definitely is an iceberg. But yeah, I probably should do that. This is why I wanted Bife, Evade, and Evade to at least shut you out when they started speaking about the Winnower, because they only begun speaking about it recently. Yeah. And I don't want to, I'm not trying to start anything, but I definitely think Evade did kind of follow on from that video. I noticed with some of the thumbnails he's used and stuff like that, it definitely seems that it, like, I think the most obvious one was I made my unveiling video, and then he made a video talking about the stump in the garden. I thought that was kind of, because I was shocked about that, the stump in the garden. I was utterly shocked. I feel like a lot of people were. And yeah, anyway, I don't care about credit. I really don't. I mean, if you're going to say like copy my video 1-to-1, I obviously want credit, but I'm not doing this for notoriety or credit or anything like that. I don't care about being right. I care about knowing what is right and trying to, you know, figure things out. And the positive way of looking at it is whether Bife credited me or not, he is sharing that and spreading awareness with a far greater reach than I ever could. So that's kind of how I look at it. It's usually like this with novel ideas. Majority opposes them, or the time isn't right to apply them. A history lesson thing. It reminds me of like that. It was like that thing about conspiracy theories where it's like, it's what is it? It's like conspiracy theories. It's like the conspiracy theorists are like X years ahead of the curve. So like they'll say that something is a thing, and then people are like, oh, it's a conspiracy theory, and then like 3 years later it'll happen. It kind of reminds me of that. Good to see you too, Cosmo Center. I hope you're doing well. I'm so sorry I cannot accept that Nimbus is the winner and be nice about it, lol. Yeah. I remember being on the forums and getting bashed once.
Yeah, happens quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ooh, ooh.
Shahan is the winner in disguise. Yep, yeah.
Y- I think a funny now I do remember like one of those dudes who were just being really toxic for no reason. I was like in school with my friend and we were like, oh, well, whatever. Let's just start messing with the guy. And so we didn't insult him or anything, but we just spewed like utter like nonsense, like gibberish, basically. Not like literal gibberish, but like what I don't even. It's been too long. I don't even remember, but it was funny. And also, we're for the record, Cosmic. We are talking about the Destiny forums.
the Bungie forums.
Because Bungie forums. That's what they're
Yeah.
called. Yeah, interesting place.
Can't wait to see the marathon forums.
Oh, it'll be empty. There will be like a spider dancing in the corner,
Uh-huh.
and Goblin scratching his belly button.
Yeah, Cosmic, yeah, no. Like there's not really any need for it, and again,
Yeah,
I
no, it's
have
just
no, I have nothing against the guy. I don't want there to be drama or anything like that. And like I said, like when I was getting bashed on Reddit, I saw him also typing or leaving posts, and he wasn't disrespectful towards me, and so I really respected that. And I don't really feel comfortable, having a conversation about somebody else beyond just
yeah.
saying that it's not nice when certain rhetoric is used. Um,
Yeah, it's like I said, like I said, I'm not. I personally have not had too great of experiences with the fellow, but I don't want to perpetuate negativity. Is I Because I know that I feel like, especially in this community, I do feel like the Destiny community, to a certain extent, does get very, very negative at times, and I think it's better to just go against that whole rhetoric and just kind of work towards making it better, you know?
yeah, and there's a
I
difference.
don't, I don't,
There's a difference between like, and I think this is like you can be this way. I feel like sometimes you can see toxic positivity, like especially I've seen it with games like communities like, bro, watch me like get posted on Twitter for this. Communities like Genshin and
oh,
like the gotcha games, you know what I mean? Where it's like
mhm.
everything's positive. You say anything negative, it's bad. It's like everything has to be perfect. Everything's great. Everything's great, guys. I think that you should be 100% allowed to voice like criticisms.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I think
What I mean
yeah,
is just being nice to people, just being a
exactly,
good Samaritan.
exactly. Everyone deserves
Like,
respect.
pick how you word stuff, like whether or not you disagree with them, don't word your thoughts in a rude way. Just be like, oh, let's agree to disagree. Don't be like, oh, you're wrong, lol. It's not productive. It's just not productive because when you go at someone negatively like that, it's gonna like inevitably we're all human. It's gonna strike a
Yeah.
nerve with them a bit, most likely, and it creates that cycle. Just it's not something we need. Um,
Jay, he's fine, man. He's fine. Don't worry about it, dude. Um, yeah, no, the way that I look at it is, and I said this when Onslaught was revealed, and then people were like adding the dude like on Steam, and they had like the really
oh
yeah
God, that was
yeah.
bad, dude.
I My
Oh my
opinion
God.
is that like I don't necessarily believe in, how do I say this? If I get a really negative comment, like let me put it like this, because I've had this before. I've had it where people will try, like they want me to argue their points, like argue against them, but they are extremely rude to me. If you do that, you lose my, like, I'm not going to talk to you. You've What the crap?
And
Yo,
Venextron.
yo,
How much is that?
concept, dude.
You are cool, my friend.
Concept is very cool. Yes,
Whoa.
dude.
Oh, Soul Invictus. Hello, Rocket. He's another friend of mine. I
Hey,
think that's the
concept.
same
Thank you
guy.
so much, man. Holy crap.
Is it? Oh no, no. What is it? Oh wait, no, that's another guy from TikTok. Is it? No, I don't know. I have a
I don't.
friend that hasn't. I have a friend who has Invictus in his name, and I know there's a guy on TikTok named Soul Invictus. That might be the guy on TikTok. I know who that is. Hello.
Dude, that's nuts.
That is really cool.
Dude,
That was
concept.
very
Thank
nice of
you
you.
so much, man. That's crazy. Dude, like I wasn't even planning on streaming today. Like I got up and I get a message from Ultra and he's like, "Dude, are we going to finish that tier list?" I was like 2 hours ago. Thank you so much, man. I really that really means a lot to me. That really does.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's legitimately
Yeah.
awesome. You have a good heart, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Um yeah. I know I'm kind of like sunlocked now.
I know that 10. Man,
That's
that is
insane.
so cool. That is so cool.
I love your channel. This is just to give back to you for the great content and entertainment. Dude, like I don't know. Like honestly, you guys are responsible for a lot of it as well because you really do uh yeah, thank you so much, man. Like it thank you. I don't know what to say. uh yeah. Um yeah. Oh also concept you know that you can I added you on the I gave you the role on Discord because you're an ascended member. You can join these talks as well. Um
You
uh,
guys can all talk to us. We can have like a water party, all the members
what's a water party?
or ascended members. We drink water.
Oh, okay.
We drink
I
water
don't
and
know
wear
why, but
party
that
hats.
sounded like a like an innuendo or something and I was like, "Wait, what's
Oh
a
no,
water?"
no, no. You're thinking of the one with the lemons. I'm talking about a water party. Like we get hats and drink water. I'll make that a thumbnail at some point.
Yeah.
It's like us all wearing different hats. Maybe in my own video. Who knows? Still don't even. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, no, that's rad. That's so rad.
Um I also I made a um like a channel in the Discord. I called it the Ascendant Realm. And
Oh,
it's basically just like a text chat for ascended members. So like I can easily just like ping everybody and like communicate with all of the. So instead of having to go out and like
ah,
DM individual, like, hey, what do you think of this? And the next person, hey, what time would work for you? So like if we're trying to like schedule something or whatever, I can just ping everybody with the role, and then we can like figure things out.
all right.
But yeah.
Water party.
Ugh. But yeah, guys, that was the tier list, and I finished it because Nezarec pulled the plug on my internet. He's haunting my router. I'm confident about it, and and then yeah, we are you interested in doing this again next week, Ultra? Either
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because it's kind of like Wednesday for you, Thursday for me, whatever.
The yeah. Most of the time I got blanks in my um schedule on Wednesdays. So yeah.
Okay. Also, everybody who got gifted a membership, I do have a few member videos that I've made. You might find those to be interesting. and I have some stuff potentially that I'm going to be adding as well for members in the future, so you might find that to be cool too. And if you are still here in the chat, dude, there are names here. I think, bro, I don't know if everybody that he gifted is in the chat or not, but he may have exposed some lurkers. So if you are here and you just haven't been typing, thank you guys for being here. And if you are here in the chat, if you could thank Concept, that would be really great because he definitely deserves it. Yeah. Yeah, no worries, Felix, man, dude. And besides, these are like saved as VODs anyway, so if you are interested in that, it's always there for you. But I do think I am gonna go and eat food because I haven't had anything to eat yet today.
Yeah, I should probably go to bed.
You need to go to sleep. Past your bedtime.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, guys, thank you for the turnout. Again, I wasn't really planning on streaming. I had forgotten, and I was reminded. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was fun. If you joined if you joined either after or you want to like see like the full tier list thing, the previous stream was the rest of like the first like 3/4 of the tier list, going through all of that. There's that. If you want to see more tier lists, if tier lists are something that you find interesting, let me know. But yeah, and then thank you again, Concept, again for the gifting. That was insane, dude. What were you saying, Ultra?
Well, maybe we can make a Zorpalod tier list.
Oh man, a tier from.
If you want, I can
yeah.
design like I could design like a whole enemy race and mechanics for those guys.
Oh man. Oh,
I like to do
Gargalos tier.
The Gargalos tier. Yeah, that's something I like to do sometimes, is make like little concept things. Like that's
Zorpal weapon.
That's one idea for a video I have in the works, is a final shape raid concept. I haven't started on that one. I probably won't even get that done before final shape comes out. I don't know.
But I'm gonna maybe next time. For April Fools, I want to make like a full-on, fully fleshed out Zorpalod like lore video.
We could write like a whole expansion for that.
Yeah.
Wrath of the Zorpalods.
Oh man.
Or something. That would be good.
The Wrath of Zargwe.
The Wrath of Zargwe. Oh man.
But
oh man.
Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna end it here and get some food. Thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you for being here, Ultra. And
yeah, it's fun as always.
Yeah,
I always have a